Welcome everybody to our latest session of Candlekeep Mysteries. As usual, we will start with a quick recap and then we will jump right into our session. Okay, so you guys will likely recall that last session you were still in the inner sanctum there, having defeated Valen Sarnaster, and were working with the assistance of Zariel and Lulu to sort of clean everything up there in the inner sanctum, take care of any loose ends before returning back to Talishar, and then ultimately back to Candlekeep. While inside, you explained the information to Zariel, but more importantly, she was able to touch upon Brandel and absorb the information in his mind and know what it is that the group was hoping to do, namely to rescue the fallen Myastin, the sage from Candlekeep, and then take Alessia, who was the servant of the Oracle there, and cure her or help her in some way, as you guys strongly believe that inside of her contained the heart of Valen Sarnaster. You guys also did a quick check at the sarcophagus of Valen to determine if she was inside. You triggered a couple of traps, which were minor inconveniences, but ultimately determined that she was not inside. Once you guys wrapped up that piece, you were starting to wonder how you were going to get out of this area, as you had recalled that getting in was through a stone arch, was like a portal that allowed you to get into this separate plane of existence, and you wondered if that's what you could do. Knowing that the defenses of the Sanctum were down with Valen not being around, you did wonder if perhaps you could just teleport out of here, but luckily as you made your way back to the entry room, it turned out that the arch itself was indeed active, and you guys were able to see a glimmering image of the House of the All-Seeing Orb on the other side. Each of you stepped through and found yourself inside of that location, quickly touched base with the leader there of the House of the All-Seeing Orb, and without providing too much information, basically indicated that they should check out, or they could check out the Sanctum, but also, as you guys exited, you saw that the arch itself had collapsed. It was destroyed after you guys exited, so you weren't sure exactly how you would access that place again, even if you wanted to. Once you guys wrapped up some stuff here in Talishar, mainly just handling the last sort of odds and end of business, you decided it was time to head back to Candlekeep. You had an opportunity to hit one of the inns in Talishar, eat some of very spicy food there, and indulge in some of the local alcoholic beverages. Both Cedric and Lexi decided to partake in some illicit substances that were being sold in a nearby hut, and got some very interesting items from the shopkeeper there. Eventually you guys had rested at the inn after getting some rooms there, and had an opportunity to identify some magic items, which you guys got quite a few from the inner sanctum, and then eventually use some magic to get yourselves back to the outskirts of Candlekeep, knowing that you can't teleport directly into Candlekeep. Once you arrived back at Candlekeep, headed through the arch there, each of you would have had to give a book to get back in, except for Brandel as he works there, and that was sort of hand-waved away, as we assume you guys still have several of the books that you had recovered from the monks. Once you guys made your way inside and had a brief conversation, you did eventually see that Silveria was looking for you and had sort of like a servant keeping tabs on when you might appear. Asked you to come to the Pillars of Pedagogy in order to have a conversation. You'll recall that part of your agreement to head over to Talishar and check on Myastin was that Silveria would look through some of the information that she had and access to some of the knowledge that is secreted away in Candlekeep to see what she could find out about if there was any possibility of trying to free Brandel from his devilish contract of his soul, which the group currently believes is directly held by Asmodeus himself. Silveria was able to explain to you all that she had tracked down this interesting journal that was written by sort of not a particularly important sage, but somebody who was affiliated with Candlekeep, and indicated in that document that they were an associate of a person named Ladamalu, And based on some of the other sources that Silveria was able to refer to, she was able to determine that Ladamalu was actually a creature known as a Nagpa. Nagpas were a group of 13 very powerful wizards that were cursed by the Raven Queen due to their disobedience, or perhaps some of the actions that they took that did not that drew the ire of the Raven Queen. The curse in particular prevents the Nagpas from learning any new information, and it twisted their bodies and forms into these strange bird-like humanoid forms. The only way they're actually able to learn is by studying ruined civilizations. So being powerful wizards themselves, obviously they always had this sort of drive to learn more and to gather this sort of esoteric knowledge, arcane knowledge, that sort of thing. And based on this curse, the only way they can do that, again, is by studying some lost civilizations, ruined civilizations, things that have died and are no longer active. With that information in hand, and knowing that the location of Ladamalu himself was actually tracked to a very wealthy district, the Blacklake district in Neverwinter, the group decided to make their way there and try to get some information out of Ladamalu, as based on the information they were able to gather, they've discovered that Ladamalu is an expert on devilish contracts, having been associated with Narfel, the ancient empire that actually fell and had some early associations with both devil and demon summoning. With this plan in place, the group decided to teleport over to Luskan and then take a boat from Luskan to Neverwinter. So the group got on board of a ship, was able to secure that passage out of Luskan without too much difficulty, and started making their way down to Neverwinter. Upon traveling for quite a distance on the open waters, it seemed as though it was calm and shore was in sight, as this ship seemed to stay fairly close to shore. In fact, everything was going just fine when you also noticed that there was this interesting passenger aboard, which was this young child who looked like he could have been no more than 10 at the very most. But there was something about his eyes, perhaps held a bit of wisdom that seemed beyond a child. It didn't have that sort of innocent look. It was more knowing, more calculating, more perceptive than you would expect from a child. Ranvan decided to approach this child and engage him in conversation, which came off just as awkward as we would expect from Ranvan by this point. This child seemingly didn't want to have too much in the way of conversation with Ranvan, and tried to pretty much politely get him to go away. And Ranvan was kind of pushing for a bit more information, trying to figure out what's going on here, but it wasn't exactly clear. But eventually Ranvan, not sure what else to do. I think he asked the kid to play soccer or something like that once they got to Neverwinter, and the kid did not seem to be particularly interested in that. Kickball, right, okay. And then the group recombined and sort of talked with one another, and eventually you guys continued traveling on your way when one of the sailors up in the crow's nest actually pointed off to the southwest and said, "Oh my god, look at that." And that is where we ended the session. So is there anything anybody would like to add to our recap there that I missed? Okay, hearing nothing, I will assume that that was adequate for a recap, and as usual, we'll go ahead and throw inspiration over to both Brandel and to Lexi for another entry in Brandel's journal. And with that, we will go ahead and jump into our session here. So I'm going to throw you guys first on the Sword Coast map, just so to give you an idea of where you're at the moment. Okay, so as you're on this vessel heading south from Luskan and heading over to Neverwinter, as mentioned, your ship is fairly close to the shore itself. This lookout guy up in the crow's nest, he has pointed to the southwest as he says, "Look at that." Obviously, this is going to draw at least one of your eye as you look in this direction, and in doing so, you can see off in the distance, not too far away though, maybe a couple hundred feet, there's some very dark clouds that seem to be rolling your direction at an unusual rate. Is anybody in the group particularly familiar with sea travel or have any experience with weather on the water?
No.
Okay, so this might not seem unusual to any of you particularly, but you can see a sense of general nervousness among the crew as they're sort of pointing in this direction, and you can hear some folks beginning to kind of like mutter. This ship is on the smaller side, so there's not, it's still a ship, so it's not like you're in a canoe, but it's not like 100 people on this boat, for example. Mainly on deck, you've got about the captain and 4 main sailors that sort of are handling most of the other work. There's probably a few other deck swabs and other ancillary assistant type sailors and that kind of thing. But for the most part, those individuals are involved in mundane tasks of cleaning or down below cooking, that kind of stuff. And on above deck right now, you have these 5 main individuals, like I say, the captain, 4 sailors, and then all of your group that is on there as well. You notice that within this short period of time after the conversation with the child and you guys continuing on your way, it seems as though he is not where he was moments before or 10 minutes before. Perhaps he has gone below deck, you're not quite sure. But as they're pointing in this direction of this very dark weather and it's rolling closer, what would you guys like to do?
I'm gonna walk on up to the captain with my new crystal staff, stomping on the wood deck as I walk up. What is that? What is that you see? Do you know what that is?
And you notice the captain holding onto the wheel, and you see he kind of like leans forward a bit, puts his elbow onto the wheel as it's kind of moving just very slightly, and he frowns, kind of scratching at his big gruff beard, and he says, "This weather is very unnatural. Yes, of course, strange things happen on the sea, but look how quickly those clouds are approaching. I don't like it."
I'll yell down to Leopold. Leopold, what do you perceive is going on in those clouds? The captain here says that they're not natural.
Can Leo make a check on cloud formation and what he knows about that?
Do you have any, like I said, special knowledge on the sea? It sounds like no. I guess just a general intelligence check you could try to throw and see if anything makes sense to you. On the world map, I have placed each of you guys' tokens in the top left corner to make it a little bit easier to access for blind checks, so you'll find those there. As you're thinking on this, Leo, and kind of looking out in this direction, seeing if you can analyze anything there that would make any sense to you, I would say, just based on your own experience with weather on land, let's say, usually storms gather, slowly overall. You might get like a smattering of rain, and then you can see clouds moving kind of overhead. This almost seems as though the clouds are moving at 5-6 times the pace you would expect, almost like they're shooting straight in your direction.
Going too fast, Leo yells back. Don't know much more beyond that, but they're going too fast.
You notice one of the sailors looks back to the captain as he kind of like scratches at his neck, and you see they kind of share this like quick glance between one another. You see the captain shakes his head in a no gesture as he looks back out towards the cloud.
What are you talking about? We can help, if you be frank.
You see he turns and looks towards you and says, as I said, there's a lot of strange things that happen at the sea. This seems particularly unusual, but we'll have to weather it like we do everything else. We are not far from the shore. As long as it's all right with you, I think it might be best if we try to get a bit closer to shore. Be easier to weather in case the storm is quite bad.
Well, you're the captain. Whatever you think is best.
He looks at the group as he sees none of you arguing or pushing for a different type of plan, and you see he nods and says, "Yeah, all right, that makes the most sense. Yeah." And you see the boat slowly begins to drift closer to the shore now, where before you might have been, 500 feet away from the shore, maybe a little bit more than that. You can see the boat, the ship, slowly getting closer and closer to the shore. You're like 400, then 300. Obviously, you're not heading directly toward shore, but you've just taken a different path to get like shallower, closer to land. The clouds themselves, however, continue to get closer, and in fact, you notice within maybe 5 minutes or so, they've gotten so close that they seem to just stretch over this area that you guys are under very quickly. With them comes the customary high winds you would expect of like a storm. You can feel that they just almost pick up as out of nowhere. Obviously, seeing this overhead, you sort of expect something like this, but just how quickly it comes and how fast they are seems quite ominous. As these very strong winds come, you see quickly thereafter rain begins to fall down from overhead. A thick, heavy, wet rain where these drops start splattering into the ship's deck, making loud plopping sounds as they do, cascading off of your armor. Those of you that are wearing metal armor, you can hear this sort of plinking sound. You can see a lot of them begins to hit like the masts and the sails. As the ship is sort of moving more in this direction, you realize pretty quickly that the speed that your vessel is traveling is actually slowing down dramatically as the wind is pushing directly against you rather than in the sails, which would make you obviously go faster. It's literally pushing the direct opposite way. You can see the sails themselves actually bend backwards a bit. It's not full strength as though it's starting to push you backwards. Again, very strangely, because it seems as though this is right about the exact amount of force necessary to slow your ships very quietly and slowly to come to almost a complete stop in the sea.
So as this kind of aggressively takes over us, I kind of want to see if I can gather everybody in front of me within our group here while the sailors are doing their thing. If anybody objects, that's okay, but I want to see if I can get everybody in my vision to cast a spell.
Are you, and would you like to be at the front of the ship or the back of the ship?
I'll be at the front of the ship so I can get, because there's more people I can cast in this spell than people in our party, so I'll get a few extra people as well.
Alright, group, is everybody willing to go to the front of the ship here and participate in whatever this spell is that Cedric is liking to cast?
They don't need to move. As long as I'm standing on the front, they can stay where they are, as long as they're willing.
Yeah, whatever you think you need to do, Cedric, as he's fighting against the wind. Hey, Adam, did it stop? Or is the clouds passing through?
The clouds have passed over you. They're very dark, but they're covering the entire sky now. Think of it almost, again, very strangely, think of it almost as though somebody was taking a black paintbrush on the sky and just racing it along, and it just kind of covers right over, and everything kind of darkens, ominously so. It isn't, you see darkness all to the south in the direction that you're going, and as you glance backwards the way that you've come from, you see it continues spreading in that direction as well.
So hearing Brandel respond, I'm going to kind of blow through this reed, and it doesn't sound like much with all the rain and everything, but you can kind of feel your necks constrict really quick and then release, and it's very quick, but I'll then shout, okay, everybody, including the captain, if anything were to happen, you can breathe underwater for 24 hours.
Alright, I'm going to move you guys over to a different map here just to give you an idea of what you're seeing, where you're at type of thing. So I heard you say you wanted to cast a spell on everybody, and you went to the front of the ship. The ship is longer than 30 feet, so the group would need to be somewhat close to you while this is happening. So group, feel free to move your tokens, whatever you think makes sense for you on the ship.
I think I would probably just get to the top of the stairs so I can see everybody.
I'd like to be in the middle because I get seasick, so how's this?
A little closer, Brando.
It's
Adam,
here!
which direction is the storm coming from? To our right, I'm guessing?
You guys are traveling south, and when this was first spotted by the guy up in the crow's nest, he pointed to the southwest.
Alright.
Alright, is everybody where they would be? I mean, I would shout to Lexi to get closer so I can get her too. Stand beside Brando! And then so I would hit everybody there. I don't know if Silver needs to breathe, but she can have it too.
And why does Lexi have not full hit points?
I don't know, maybe she got hurt recently.
I don't think we got into anything. Any scraps?
No,
I'm
I
guessing
think
she just didn't reset her HP.
That certainly could be, yeah, because I looked at that and I was like, yeah, well, it's her character, she'll know.
Unless
So
she
do I
did
get
some
do I
scuba.
get, do I get a sense of magic? Can I see if this is conjured, or the device if it's conjured?
Just based on your own knowledge, without using any kind of magic, try to determine that, I assume.
Yeah, just I'm contemplating casting True Seeing in this moment, and I want to know before I burn a level 6 if I can determine something arcane.
Give me an Arcana check, blind. I would say based on the speed that this has occurred, you certainly suspect there is some type of magical force at play here. This doesn't seem natural.
All right. All right. I'm gonna go reach into my pouch and I'm gonna rub the True Seeing ointment on my eyes and cast it on myself.
All right, you cast the spell on yourself and gain the benefits of True Seeing. Within 120 feet of you, you do not detect any secret doors hidden by magic, anything in the ethereal plane, or none of the individuals on the boat have a true form that is currently being hidden by magic.
Okay.
I'm usually way too late with this, but I should probably get some death wards on us. And I'll walk over and put one on Randall.
And to that point, I'm going to cast Aid at 3rd level for... Oh, who usually gets that? Randall, of course. Guess Leo, Ranvon. That sounds right. We're the important ones. So, that's there. I think it's only 10 extra HP for you, but there you go.
That's real HP. Thank you.
Yes, correct.
That went on who?
Ranvon, Randall, and Leo. I maybe should have done that differently, but that's what I did. So.
Okay,
Randall.
I'll put a death ward on Leopold.
Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
All right, as you guys are doing this casting and trying to get yourself prepared for whatever ominousness has brought this darkness, is there anything else you guys are doing while you're waiting here as the rain continues to plummet down?
Del gets the his radiant sword ready, out and active.
Brandish the sun sword and conjure the blade.
Hey, do I see the boy anywhere? Where's the boy? As I say through the storm.
Sounds like none of your companions answer you, and it looks like most of the crew guys are too busy with what they're doing here, looking nervous, grabbing onto sails, looking around. You see they have this sort of strangeness about them as they're anticipating, almost like everything's at the tip of a knife at the moment.
Can I just walk like halfway down the stairs and where I think there's a belly to see if I see the boy with my true sight?
So you're wanting to head partially below decks?
Yeah, I don't want to be in the bottom of a ship in the middle of a storm, but I'm gonna go down halfway the stairs and say, "There's a storm, make ready!" And then, as an excuse, and I'm gonna look for the boy intently.
Give me a blind check to see if you spot him. Again, remember that there is a lot of different folks on board here, so crew members and all of that. All right, so you head down with this enhanced true sight as you're scanning. Nothing pings to you as being unnatural or out of the ordinary, nothing hidden here. There is a lot of different people, there's a lot of belongings and cargo that is on this boat, on this ship. As you spend maybe 5 minutes or so just kind of scanning down there, you see no signs of it.
I'll come up to the deck and sit next to where I am on the map.
All right, as you're coming back up, the rest of you, as you're just kind of gathered here together and looking, you notice to your south suddenly, as the ship here is pretty much at a standstill based on this wind that is pushing you back and has sort of brought the ship to an arrested spot, you notice there's this bit of water in front of you, so to your south, that just sort of starts rising. is in about a 10-foot radius area, and you can see the water actually rises up out of the water itself. Think of this almost as like a cone of water, and you see a humanoid figure beginning to emerge.
Flashbacks of Baldur's Gate, right?
As this figure emerges, you notice that it is humanoid in shape. Perhaps on a first glance, you might get the impression of some type of elvish blood based on its elongated ears, but the sort of tendrils off of its chin quickly dispel that. As you look towards it, you see that it is wearing sort of this green reef-like attire. That's like a long cloak that hangs behind it that looks to be made of seaweed. And you can see water just constantly running right off of it back to the water down below in the sea. You see it has a lot of these different like suction cups on its arms, and it's wearing a strange array of this shell-type jewelry on its neck.
What's the crew's reaction?
Give me a blind check. You are surprised to notice that they don't seem to be all that surprised.
I guess Leo will just yell out over the way, try and yell through the storm to this figure that has appeared. Hey, is this your storm? He just yells that out.
You notice the figure looks towards the group. He doesn't necessarily look directly towards you, Leo. You're not sure either if he heard you through this loud rain and the thunder all around you, or if he did, he's just choosing not to engage you. But you see he sort of opens his mouth, and it's kind of a strange effect here. As he opens his mouth, words suddenly emit from it, but you don't see his lips moving as though he is speaking. You get the impression of though someone speaking through him, perhaps. And this loud, booming voice seems to roll right over the front of the deck. And you hear a single word, Captain.
We all look at the captain.
Yes,
And
you
I
notice
get
the
out of the
captain
way.
does start making forward, and you see he's got this very stern expression on his face as he passes by, not making contact with any of you. You see he approaches, getting more towards the front of the ship here, looking down towards him, and you hear him shout back, I already paid this month! You can't do this to me again! And the voice you hear comes out once again, Captain, your passengers have not paid. And you notice the captain kind of scratches the back of his neck, looks back towards you all, looks back towards him, says, oh, come on, but I paid last time. You're not going to hassle them now, are you? And you see the figure here, its mouth just kind of stays open, and you hear no response. You notice the captain looks back towards you. And, I'm really sorry about this, guys. You see, this is one of those strange things that I said sometimes happens at sea. This guy, well, he's like the voice for this other guy around here, and long story short, they always demand tribute when people come this way. I shouldn't say always, because a lot of times we just miss them. I didn't even think they were going to be here this time.
Who's the other guy? The other guy?
I've never seen him, but I've heard terrible stories. It's supposed to be someone from the deeps. If you ask him, he'll ring off a list of titles, but it just goes on forever.
How much is the toll?
Usually he charges based on who I have on board. Let me see. You see he turns back. Of course, the passengers are willing to pay for your protection, but they just ask that you be reasonable in your demands, for they are in quite a hurry. And you notice the figure's mouth again, still just ajar this entire time, and the voice emits. These individuals look to have quite the goods upon them. 200 gold pieces per head. And you see the captain looks back to you with like this shocked look on his face. That's more than I've ever seen them ask for.
Just rolled his eyes. Like, do we want to deal with this clown or just pay up and not have to worry about it?
I know a grift when I see one. These guys are in it together. Just tell the captain to turn the ship around. We're not going this way. We'll go a different way.
I think this is the only way we can go.
No, we made a choice to take the. We could just walk there. We can walk to where we need to go. We can take horses. I'm not paying this man.
Yeah, but 200 gold isn't really that much in the grand scheme of things.
200 gold per head. Did you miss that part?
I have
Per
like
person.
1,000 gold here.
Yeah, Leo, but if we let people know that we're walking with that kind of money, who's to say this guy doesn't swim off and tell his friends and they attack us 100 yards down the ocean here? Let's fuck him up. Oh, pardon my language.
I imagine that's something Cedric would totally say.
I was just in character.
Hey,
Captain,
I'm down for a fight.
how much does he usually ask for?
Usually it depends. With just regular travelers, it's usually like 10 gold a head, but I did have this noble lady one time, and somehow he knew, and for her it was 100 gold, but for you, who are you people?
Kind of nobodies, and we're down in our luck. We don't have that much money on us.
How far away is the suction cup guy, Adam?
From the front of the ship, he's a good 50 feet.
Yeah. I'm gonna just draw my bow and I'm gonna glance over my shoulder at everybody and wait for anybody to say no. And then if no one says it.
No, we'll lowball him, and if he takes it, maybe because if we just say we're not going to give him anything, he'll just get mad and try to fight us. But maybe we can lowball him, and he'll take that like his own win or something, and walk away with it.
Tell him we'll pay 100.
There you go.
You
We
say
make
this to the captain?
say it. Yeah, captains are. He's the
Yeah.
one who talks to him.
I release the tension in my bowstring and I say that to the captain.
The captain looks towards you guys with like a wince as his shoulders narrow as his head comes down, and he says, "If you really want me to, I'll say that, but the last time I tried to haggle, they conjured a bolt of lightning that struck right into the mast and set my sails aflame."
Well, how about everybody spread out real quick?
which mast?
The central mast.
Oh, excellent. How about over here? There we go.
Who does? Should we ask him who he speaks for? This way we know who to kill later.
I think we should. And then also Leo has a thought, and he kind of looks over at Ranbun and Cedric, and he says, "All right, well, a couple of things. He already knows who we are because he's charging us 200 gold a head. So whatever knowledge they've got, it's out. Whether or not he just figured that out on his own, I don't know. But regardless, this guy and whoever's talking through his mouth like some weird, strange, magical thing, they know we're blown as far as this goes. So we either pay them up, but if we kill this guy, whoever's talking through his mouth is still gonna know. Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna cast detect thoughts through the helm. I want to know what the captain's thinking.
Yes.
So this is surface thoughts, right? So that without
Yeah.
a save?
Yes.
I think his surface thoughts right now are probably, I hope my ship is not destroyed.
That was the other thing I was going to mention is if we start fighting, it's the ship that's going to take the damage and not so much us.
And the captain then he's not gonna lie because it's his business.
I've done this for a long time, guys. We're asking this creepy toll bearer a lot of questions. Usually you just kill him or you pay him.
Dell will yell out, "Who do you speak for?"
The voice once again utters from this open mouth, and you hear, "The Lord of the Seas, the Emerald Surfer, he who sits below the waves."
Oh my god, we just pay him?
As he goes through those names, do any of those monikers ring a bell to
Give me
Leo?
a blind check.
I'm going to put a flash of genius on that too, because when
All right, how much does that add?
+5.
Okay, I would say, based on this history check, you do recall that along some coastal cities and villages, there's this tale known as a tale that uses the moniker "He Who Sits Below the Waves" to refer to a kraken.
We're paying. Leo
Yes,
just yells it out.
just pay the man.
We're going to pay, and he glares at everyone else to like argue with them about it. We're paying.
I gotta say, man, I'm completely with Ranvon here. We take the boat to the shore, and then just go that way. I mean, a kraken's not gonna attack us on shore.
This guy's not going to let us go to shore.
Yeah, we kill him and then go to shore. Quick, simple, easy peasy.
The boat's not moving.
Hey, Captain, can we just turn the boat around? Do we have to go through
Boat's
the
not moving. It's not going to move.
You see, he looks at you as though looking towards a child, and he says, "I need wind for the boat to move."
You can't paddle it.
I think you mean oar it, and no, we're not equipped with oars. This is just a sailing ship.
We can just swim, guys.
In a storm.
It's a faux storm.
The
Brendel
voice
said it was
breaks
made
out
with
once again. You have 10 seconds to comply.
Leo just starts like waving him over. Come on, I'll get you some money.
Yes, here, I'll give you some gold.
You shall place the coinage in a bag and throw it into the water. If your
Fine.
offering is sufficient, you shall be free to go.
Excellent. Here you go, Leo. Here's 200 gold. Do you have a bag? I don't have a bag.
I'm sure Leo has a bag.
If not, you can make one.
I think, yeah, I'm guessing. Well, if anything, you know what? Leo's gonna grab like some sack that's laying on the ground on this boat because I'm sure there's several.
Dump
you
the
just
sack
empty it
that
out.
has flour and an apple in it.
Yeah, but it's already wet, so it's fine. It was ruined anyway. Okay, so Brandel dumps 200 gold.
Yes.
Leo dumps. He's not screwing around, so he's gonna dump 600 gold, and he'll say, "There, there's not that much left now. Just pony up. Come on, let's go."
Okay, how much more do we need?
400.
I'll give him the 400.
Done, and he throws it over.
So this is a total of 1,000 or 1,200.
800
That's
plus
1200.
12. Yep.
Okay. So you've thrown 200 per head. You throw this in a bag, throw it over the ship, and you hear a loud splash sound as this much coin in the bag hits it and begins to descend down. You notice the open mouth of this figure slowly closes, and you notice the water begins to recede where he was as he is lowered from this watery pillar down below the shores. Down below the waves, I should say, as he is suddenly no longer there. Alright, you notice this terrible weather seems to persist for a little bit of time, but only perhaps another 5 minutes or so, as you guys are looking to one another, kind of looking around, a bit curious here. I would say you guys certainly hear the sound of like a loud splash come from behind you, but as you turn and look that way, you just see a large wave, not anything that's going to damage the boat, but indicating something large sort of popped out of the water maybe. Just kind of rolls your way, hits the boat, shakes it a little bit, and then things start to get quiet as you notice this dark sky overhead begins to trickle out. The rain slows, the winds begin to quiet, and within a total of maybe 10 minutes, things seem to calm down dramatically so, as though nothing terrible happened here.
So, Leo, can you explain why we paid that guy 1,200 gold?
You know what a kraken is, Cedric?
A myth?
No, it's
When's
real.
the last one that happened? Give me the date, Leo. When's the last time a kraken attacked?
Does Leo know?
Like attacked Faerun, like some coast or something?
When was the last kraken sighting that Leo's heard?
Yeah, or a ship or anything. When's the last time there was a documented kraken attack?
Based on your check, you do not recall any documented cases of a kraken attacking. Again, you have heard cases of coastal villages telling these like tall tales and having these very extreme stories of some things. Particularly, you recall some stories about individuals sort of showing up in like a coastal village or a coastal town, and then eventually it is discovered that they are some type of amphibious creature that melded into the citizenry of that village, and they potentially were associated with the kraken, but you've not ever heard, you don't recall any tales with that check of an actual kraken attack.
So, don't know of any specific ones, but it's better to not just. Here's the thing, Cedric, is we could have jumped overboard and then, sure, we might have been able to breathe for 24 hours, but that doesn't mean we would have been able to swim anywhere for 24 hours. Could have just
Sure,
sunk
but
right down to the ground.
you just got sea swindled. Who's to say that that guy now does? I mean, he knows we've got coin on us because he got a bag full of it now, right? Who's to say that 100 freaking miles down the coast there's not going to be an ambush waiting for us because they know how much gold is on ship?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. He knew about us. He knew to charge that much for us. He just didn't come out and say 13 gold and we're good. He knew 200 gold. These
Leo,
people have served El Terrell before. They've got a shit ton of money on them.
He didn't know that, Leo. Your crossbow glows in the dark, man. Of course he thinks we got money. I mean, Brandal's got 7 staffs on his back.
It doesn't matter either way. We paid him. It's over. We're not going to have another ambush. It'll be fine. We won't deal with the kraken. We'll not die. And the other thing is, this is this guy's boat. We're going to sink it, trying to fight whatever that was, and all of the other things that would pop up during it.
Well, we
Might just serve him right? I mean, it seems like he knew this could happen and didn't warn us before we got on. But we didn't expect this trip to cost so much.
we paid for safe passage. We paid for anonymity, and we didn't pay to get swindled. So the way I see it, this captain owes us every single gold piece that we have lost.
Wait a minute, guys. That's not how this works. I didn't know this was going to happen. There's risks involved anywhere in Faerun. If you take a ship, sometimes you have problems, but if you would have gone by land, who's to say you wouldn't have run into other issues? It seems, all I can say for sure is, it seems as though this group, they knew you were coming this way. That's not for me. Well, we didn't say a word about anything. We got you out. I didn't even ask many questions.
Well, you could have warned us that this could happen.
Do you know how many things could happen, though? I mean, if I told every prospective customer of all the terrible things I've seen at sea, I would never have anybody.
Okay, that's a fair point.
I just want to go on record. We're about to enter a realm of espionage and spying and resource hunting for intelligence. I mean, our identities need to be anonymous, and if we just pay people off, they still know our identities.
They already knew, Cedric. That's what I was trying to say. They knew.
Who?
He
How did
knew.
How did you know that they knew, though? And who
You
is?
can
who's
spy on people. You can. Who knows what sort of sea magic?
Not
they have.
Brandel.
Not Brandel, but the rest of us are fair game.
I guess that's true, right? But I mean, that's not to say that we couldn't have killed their messenger. That's how you send a message, you know. But look, we paid. We're safe now. I'm just saying. We got sea swindled. Okay? It's not cool.
I don't think
Brandel,
anyone
go
likes
ahead.
to be these friends.
Brandel, go ahead and throw me another blind check as you continue searching around for the child.
And I'm gonna use my true seeing as I'm going to the cabin. Use that as an advantage here, and also look for secret doors or magic or things in the ethereal and all that.
You don't see anything in the ethereal. You don't see any secret doors hidden by magic. True seeing works great to detect magical stuff, but just mundane stuff, obviously it doesn't help you with anything here. You spend like another good 10 minutes searching around this area. Visually, keep in mind you're walking through like the underbelly of a ship, so you're moving by like crates and barrels. You're pushing by rope hanging here and there. A bunch of different crew. You're having to like get out of their way as they're moving and checking different things and cleaning. So you're doing what you can, but you spend about 10 minutes searching head to toe of the ship. You find no sign of this boy.
I'll come up and say, "There's no sign of the boy." Oh, were you guys talking about something?
Captain, who is that boy?
I don't know. I told you guys I don't ask too many questions. When somebody can pay for the passage, then they are accepted.
Well, he's gone. He's off your manifest, and is he overboard? Look
Yeah.
Look over the side.
Well, hang on. Did he ask to join our voyage after we did, Captain?
No. In fact, I believe he was booked before your group was.
Curious.
Well, aren't you alarmed that a 10-year-old boy is now missing on your manifest? Should you alert your guards? He might be overboard in that storm. Guards, look over the rail. There's a boy missing.
You see they all look at you as though like you've gone a little bit crazy, and you see he looks back towards you and he says, well, first of all, we don't keep manifests, right? That's for goods and things. You guys said you didn't want to be tracked. That's how most of my steerage patronages come. People don't want people knowing where they're going and where they're coming from. So no, he won't be reflected in any way like that. I didn't see him go overboard, and if he did, I don't know, strange kid. Maybe he knows how to swim.
I find that shockingly irresponsible. I mean, it's one thing not to have a manifest. It's another thing to make sure that your patrons are safe aboard. I'm sure he paid for safe travel, and he might be dying there in the water.
You see the captain kind of shakes his head as he looks toward you and says, I think you've got the wrong idea, friend. I mean, you're not exactly on the Queen's vessel, right? What I do is I get people from one place to the next place quietly and quickly, and well, now that everything has gone away, I can get things moving again if you like, or we can try to hash this out if it's more important to you.
Ugh, Ranvon, am I wrong? The boy's missing, a 10-year-old boy, in a storm.
Did he not pay for safe passage, or did we pay extra for that?
You asked this of the captain?
Yeah.
And you see he looks towards you and goes, you're not going to like the answer, but you guys keep saying safe passage. I would say you all paid for passage. I can only guarantee your safety to the best of my ability. I mean, the boy paid, you all paid. That's as far as it goes.
I'm going to need to see your boating license.
We paid for discreet travel, right? It was last minute. It was a quick decision. He gave us a ride. I mean, I get what he's saying. But the curious thing is that the boy was here before the storm, and then he's not here after the storm. But either way, we can't just sit here.
And you see he looks towards you again, Brandon. He says, are you sure he's not down there somewhere? Maybe he's small. Maybe you just missed him.
Well, Leo, get down here. Help me look around. I can't find the boy.
Before Leo does that, he's actually going to pull out the crystal orb and try and scry on the kid. I don't think is super great because I know of him. Ooh, yeah.
He is going to succeed on this save, and you do not know where he is at.
I guess we'll look the old-fashioned.
Well, in the meantime, should we get this boat moving?
Mm-hmm.
And you see the captain says, yes, that's the best idea I've heard in a while. Lads, let's get everything moving. Let's get out of here as quickly as we can. And you see they start kind of moving around, rigging the sails once again, and get the operations underway.
And Del's gonna add, and let's make it double time, or I'll burn those sails myself.
Give me a blind intimidation check. And you see he looks towards you. Yes, right away, sir. We'll try to get you there as fast as we can. My apologies for the delay. Come on, boys. You heard what he said. Let's get our asses moving. Light a fire. And you see they do seem to try to move a bit more double time as they're kind of moving around, sliding on the deck here a bit. But eventually, it seems as though the boat does get, or the ship does get started moving here. The two of you, Leopold and Brandel, you make your way below deck. And Leopold, as you get down here and you scan with like 5 seconds of scanning, you notice the boy actually just standing against the back wall. And you see he's just kind of standing there, leaning, looking down at his hand. There's something small in his hand that he's just kind of flipping over in his fingers.
With Leo's 20 passive, can you tell what that that thing is?
It looks to be some kind of a small carved wooden toggle.
I'll walk up to the boy. Boy, are you okay? There's a storm above. We're concerned for you. Are you quite all right?
You notice he raises his head as he looks towards you and says, "Yes, I am quite fine. Your concern is noted."
Well, is that a trinket to give you good luck in these circumstances?
It has not quite brought me good luck. It reminds me of things that I choose not to forget.
We all must be reminded of things not to forget. That's great. Do I notice anything now with my true vision on him? That's kind of the point.
No, nothing out of the ordinary.
Well, okay. What is that trinket you hold then?
And you see he raises those very prominent, piercing eyes as he looks you dead set right in your face, Brandel, and he says, "I find your questions a bit disconcerting. Perhaps you're just trying to be friendly, but strangers asking too many questions, in my experience, well, it can lead to some unfortunate things. May I ask why you are so curious about me?"
Well, I'm just a curious nature, concerned about your well-being, and you're here traveling alone. Pardon me if I get a bit protective of those on board. That is all. Care about your trinketing, and I'll be upstairs. It's good to see you well.
And you see he lowers his head at this to look back at the small toggle as he continues fiddling it in his fingers.
Leo will kind of wait for Brandel to head a little ways away, and then he'll talk to the boy too. Really, we were just concerned because we couldn't find you during that whole incident just now. And I don't know what your deal is, but obviously you're not some little kid, so that's fine. I don't want to pry like the rest of everyone, but I want you to know that, I realize that there's something going on there with you. So as long as you stay to yourself, I'll try and wrangle the rest of them so they quit bothering you. But
Give me a blind persuasion check here, Leopold.
I'm gonna use Flash of Genius on this too,
Okay.
because my persuasion isn't super great.
Well, you can't be good at everything. Alright, so that's an extra 5, you said, right?
Yes, and if it's a terrible one, I'll use my inspiration to re-roll it. If I guess actually, yeah. So that would mean it would be at advantage. So let's pop that too.
The Mount Hatanau inspiration.
Yes, correct.
You notice as you say this, in particular, as you mention, I know you're not just some young boy. You notice his lips kind of turn into a little bit of a smile as he raises his face as he looks towards you and he says, "True and untrue. Very curious how it works. I appreciate you being more open and direct than some of your associates, though. And yes, I have nothing... I have things to hide, of course, but nothing that would be of danger to you or to others. So if you're willing to simply go about your business and let me be, I think that would be best for both sides."
I think that's fine. Nothing like, the captain didn't expect the toll thing to happen. Nothing like that might pop up in the rest of our little journey.
Oh no, the captain was completely unaware. That I can assure you of.
I guess now I'm prying a little bit, but you don't happen to know any more about what just happened than you're letting on.
I know a little bit more, but I do not know the cause, and I am not the cause of it, if that is what you're insinuating.
He wasn't insinuating. I was just curious. All right, but carry on. Have a good voyage.
And you, hopefully, the rest of the journey will be less exciting.
Will and Leo will go and head up.
All right, so the rest of you guys are above deck now, and the ship is moving at normal pace and making good time as you see you're sailing right across the open sea.
Well, Leo, I saw nothing suspicious of the boy with my true seeing. Did you learn anything?
You know, some mysterious secret, but he's not going to bother us. And I think we'll just let him go. We'll be fine.
He seems smart though, right? Why don't you take him on as an apprentice or something?
Something tells me he's actually probably the one that would take me on as apprentice. He's fine. Just let him be. You know, those rambunctious youths. They need their space. They need their they need to be independent of us adults. So you know, we'll just let him be on his own, and we'll just keep a distance, but we can still keep an eye on him just to make sure he's all right.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how you being his apprentice would work because you're older than him, and I think that was like the first conditions. One of the apprentice is younger.
Leah just kind of half smiles and shrugs and says, "I don't know either, but that's the way it is."
Okay, so you guys continue on your journey here. This is going to be a few days' journey. I'm doing a quick check on the duration once again, and by boat, I think you guys are going to make it there in about 4.5 days or so. So, is there anything in particular during this time that you are journeying that you would like to do or engage in, or anything along those lines?
If the weather gets bad, Randwan's gonna urge everyone below deck again, so they don't have to pay someone 200 more gold.
Okay.
Adam, I'll use my poisoner feat and brew a few more poisons before we make it to dock.
Okay, nice.
Adam, would I have the capability on the ship during this to kind of like what I'm going for here is maybe working on an uncommon magical item. And I know it's not obviously enough time to finish that up, but to like get a couple of days under the belt for it.
Is this like a special feature of your class, or are you just saying in general magic item creation?
Well, there is somewhere in my million of features here, there is a thing about me being able to do an uncommon magical item in a quarter amount of time. But essentially, I'm trying to turn Ranvan's rock that he bought originally into a luck stone. So I don't know if I need like facilities for that and like other things, or if there's stuff that I could do on the boat working on it while we're 4 days of not doing anything.
Okay, so short of like an actual class feature, I'll need to double check the rules there. I know we talked about this briefly. Usually this is the kind of thing that's done in downtime, right? Like magic item creation. And while this is 4 days of being on a ship, I don't really think of this as the same as downtime, where you have like access to different merchants and you're in a town, you can speak to people, you can get the goods and that kind of stuff that you have. So I would say probably you can't create a magic item on board like this without access to those kind of things. But if there was something more, something that you could do that doesn't require additional stuff. So, for example, generally when it comes to magic item creation, it's like you need the idea of how to create it. You usually need some type of special material. It might be something odd, like for a luck stone, it might be, you need a feather from a quickling, or you need something from some species that's known to have really good luck, something like that. So, other than like studying, or if you have any books or fishing or something like that, I think magic item creation unfortunately would not be on the list.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to ask. And
Sure.
the other thing is that all these days, Leo is going to try and scry
Okay.
our guy. What's his name?
On Ladamalu?
Yes. That one.
Okay, and remind me, I think you've tried to scry on him once before, right?
Yeah, several times actually. So it's like the 24-hour period at each time Leo's gonna re-up and try and hit him again.
Okay, so let me just double check the scrying. I think when you miss, do they know that you're scrying on them?
I don't believe so. Posted it. Um, it's interesting. It doesn't say anything about them knowing, but it does say, oh wait, if a target knows you're casting the spell. So I guess if they would somehow have knowledge that I was able to do this, then they could voluntarily save on it. But with barring that, I guess they don't know.
Yeah, see, that's an interesting one because you make a saving throw, and usually when you're making a save, that indicates there's some type of awareness that something's happening to you, right? So I wonder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this in the hands of the dice. So you're doing this. So first, the first roll here is going to basically be like a skill check to see how much awareness there is here. Okay, and then the next one is going to be the saving throw, and this is a wisdom saving throw, I believe.
Yes.
And your DC is 18.
I think it's 17. Hold on, I'm looking. Blah, 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 blah. I feel like this thing had its own saving throw, but on D&D Beyond, where I've got it loaded in, it does say Wisdom 17, so I think that's it.
All right, I'm just looking it up in the SRD real quick. Yeah, saves DC 17. Okay, so I would say what you see as the sensor is created. Let me see if I can describe this to you.
Oh, it worked. Nice.
Okay, you see a very well furnished manor house room. It is multiple levels, so it's got a upper level and it's got two sets of stairs that are sort of winding, or not real windy, but they kind of go two directions. Think of almost like L-shaped staircases. You notice that there is a lot of portraits around this room that seems to have some very strange artwork depicted. In particular, you notice one represents some type of demonic or devilish figure. It looks to be mostly human, though you can see these devilish-like wings breaking out of the back of it. There's another one that is so odd and has these different shapes that it is hard even to wrap your head around of what it is trying to exactly represent. You see another one that almost looks like a mostly nude woman that has some type of a strange growth on her head that covers her eyes. You can see a pair, her like red lips there indicates that that is her face, but this artwork is very, very odd to you. You see that there is also in this area a door, and you see the individual itself, the Nagpa, and I don't know if I sent you guys a picture of this or not, so I'll just do that real quick so you guys have an idea what it looks like. Other than that, I would say, as I'm pulling up the image here, yeah, that's pretty much what you see. The creature itself is wearing this sort of strange attire that looks like a tattered purplish robe, and it has this odd staff in hand that seems to be topped with a humanoid skeleton, though a couple of the teeth on the skeleton look to be a little bit larger than you would expect, and it has horns on top of the skeleton.
Did you send that image?
I just sent it just now.
I heard you, and I'm writing furiously.
Oh, Discord.
Oh, got it. Wow. That's some, what were those guys in the Dark Crystal?
I thought the exact same thing when I first looked at these guys. Yeah, it was started with an S, right? It was like something. I forget.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I've written all that down.
Skexus.
There you go,
There you
Skeksis,
go.
yeah.
Yep. What else do I see? Anything?
So the scrying sensor doesn't move, right? So you're limited to just what you can spot?
I believe it follows the creature. Like if I scry on a location, it stays in the location. But if I scry on a creature with invisible sensor within 10 feet of the target, you can see and hear through the sensor as if you were there. The sensor moves with the target, remaining 10 feet of it for the duration. Yeah.
Okay, and the duration of the spell is up to 10
10?
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that 10 minutes time, I would say you see he walks down the stairs. Once he gets to the lower level, you can see that there are these two elaborate carpets that are on the ground that seem to be like runners that lead to the staircases themselves. He seems to look at them and examine them with a bit of care, and traces one of his clawed, like taloned fingers along it, as though you're not sure exactly what he's doing, but he seems to spend a bit of time doing this and poking different spots of it, as though he's testing something, maybe. You also spot some more portraits down here that, again, similarly very strange. You see that there is a large bookcase in the corner of the room, and you can see there is another door. This room seems to be lit by these a little bit more elaborate looking lamps that are affixed to the wall, and you can see that there are these bouquets of yellowish flowers posted on the second level, but right at the edge of them, so they're visible from the first floor as you look up. As I mentioned, the furniture looks really nice, looks really sort of fancy. The ground itself is made of just kind of standard wood planks. Overall, you would assume this is the home, or this room at least, is sort of like a receiving room, I guess you could say, for guests to come in. And I would say during this 10 minutes, he inspects both of these carpet runners that go right to the stairs. He spends some time looking at the portraits themselves. And you probably would also notice him cast a spell. I don't think you would know the spell seen through the sensor, because it's not a spell that you've seen cast before. But yeah, he casts a spell and you don't see any obvious effect.
Do I notice anything about the way he casts it? Does he like not have an arcane focus, or does he, or some other oddness?
You don't see any obvious arcane focus. You do see he's holding that strange staff, and he sort of shakes it about as part of the casting of the spell. Perhaps that's his focus.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
And yeah, I think within your 10 minutes, that's about it, and then the spell would wear off.
When that is finished, Leo grabs everyone and relays that verbatim to all of them, so that they know. All right, we managed to see him at least. Got a good look of his place. I have a feeling those carpets that he was messing with have some sort of trap on them, maybe, or he was, I don't know, doing something. So I guess if we ever make it into his mansion, just be careful of those.
Excellent.
see-
You didn't break it, did you?
But it's not broken. That's fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
Don't worry, Brantle. It takes a lot to break these things. I think Leo's tempted almost to take the crystal and smash it against the wall to show Brantle that magic items don't break, but then he thinks better of it and just puts it back in the bag.
Oh, that's very respectful.
Yeah, I'll just try and be respectful. That's me.
Are you guys up for a little bit of commuting?
Are we commuting by bicycle?
Commune, not commute.
Oh, my bad.
I was thinking we could, we've got a couple days. Why don't we ask Torm what he thinks about where we're gonna go?
Oh, excellent idea.
I like it.
And then I'll say we brainstorm aloud, and then I'll read some of these questions we posted in chat. So I'll use the helm to cast it. Do you want me to click it, Adam?
No, it's fine. So you're using that's the once per day from the helm?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Oh, actually, yeah, you might as well click it. I always forget how the spell works. It's helpful to read it again.
I'll post the spell then.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Okay, so the first one is: Are we expected in Neverwinter by Le Demalier? Oh man, I said that with some French.
Aren't you like French Canadian or something? Like this should be like
Le Demalier. But I don't know how it's written because Cedric and you write it differently.
And I probably spelled it wrong if I was going by the French writing, but yeah, it is Ladamalu.
Like Leda, is it Ledo?
It is.
Le Demalier.
Okay, so the first question was: Is Ladamalu aware that you're coming?
Yeah, are we expected by Le Demalier?
All right, and this is the one where your deity, so this being Torm, because that's the helm, is tries to give you correct answers if he thinks the answer that he would give you with one word would be incorrect. So he's going to say, kind of.
Okay. All right. That's yes. Like that question kind of is yes, right?
maybe
It's
does
kind
not
of
mean
yes,
yes.
and kind of no.
Probably knows someone's coming, just maybe not us specifically.
Okay. The second one, let's just ask that too, because I don't want to take up the game. Trying to, I think we do need another extra one here. But is Asmodeus scrying on us?
Sometimes.
Okay. All right. The other one was, is it the Nagpo scrying on us? But I think we know that one now, right? Don't care about that one anymore. Because that's Ladamalo.
Ask if Ladolomio is scrying on us.
Yeah, there's only isn't. Didn't you say there's like I don't quite remember, but there's like only like 12 or 13 Nagpus total because that's how many of them got cursed. So I think just asking if it's the specific one would be better for us.
Okay, yeah. Is Ladamalu scrying on us?
No.
That's good.
Did we just get sea swindled?
Ask it, man.
Well, I'll have to wait for a day to pass narratively before I can do this again.
Yeah, like I said, you guys got 4 days worth of stuff to do here, so using like
4 days.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have that many questions unless you guys have like anything. We can have 7 more right here. Or sorry, 6 more.
And yes and no. Okay, that's good.
All right. Can we beat Ladamalu in a fight without a plan?
Unlikely.
Can we access their lair via the sewers?
So that is, can you access Ladamalu's lair from the sewers?
Yes, sorry.
No.
Here's a suggestion: Is Ladolomeu planning to destroy Neverwinter?
That one.
No.
Okay, that's 6.
Does Ladamalu have Brendel's contract?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just anything anyone says at this point, Adam, that's what we're going to do because I don't want to take up too much time.
No to that question.
Does Ladolomeu know how to void Brandel from his contract?
How many questions you guys have left?
We just
that
had
was-
7, so this will be 8.
And how many do you have total?
12.
It's 3 a day.
So 12. Okay. So this is your 8th question. Okay, so does Ladamalu know how to void your contract? Let's see. No.
Does Ladamalu know who has the contract?
No.
All right, I would like to veto Ladamalu and contract questions at this point.
Yeah, totally. Oh my god, this is a false errand.
Is the cult of the Raging Fiend still active?
Yes.
Is Ladamalu and the cult of the Raging Fiend together?
Loose association.
So the contract may still be a viable mission, but Ladamalu doesn't have much to do with the cult.
I love the direction of this. I mean, we're getting straight to the point.
Is the cult of the Raging Fiend? That would probably be, or if it's a loose association, then we should probably chase that thread.
Well, last question, just throwing it out there. Did we ask? I don't know. Does the cult of the Raven Fiend know how to void my contract? Maybe they do. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think it would need to be more specific to get a better answer.
Okay.
Like, have we? Is the head of the cult of the Raging Fiend scrying on us? That would be a good one.
Yeah, I don't mind. Let's just throw it out there. Whatever we're
Let's do it.
brainstorming.
No.
All right, that's all.
Sweet. Good use.
It's pretty neat when you got a couple days in a row with nothing going on.
With the
Dang it! We
scrying.
forgot to ask about Sea Swindled. Son of a.
We just know that we were.
Adam, can you be Torm and just come back down and say, and yes, you were Sea Swindled?
I like to give you guys a little bit of insight on occasion. So what I will say is, if you would have refused to pay, it would have been a challenging battle for sure. It was not with a Kraken, but the forces that were there to facilitate payment were significant.
So we were not sea swindled. Ha!
Leo says, "Told you
What?
so."
Yes.
But
No,
Yes,
we
we
were.
were.
It just the captain wasn't in on it.
Yeah, we were still swindled out of money.
Yeah, we were strong armed
Just,
for
just
sure.
not by a Kraken.
Do you know if I saw that and I was the captain, that happened to me, the next day I'm selling that boat.
All right, so you guys have made good use of the Helm of Torm during these 4 days. Is there anything else in particular the group would like to do during this travel?
does the helm get like hot after it's been used a bunch? Does it like need to cool down now? Is it like making the ticking noises like that engines do?
No, I imagine because it's like a divine thing, it's just always exactly as it is. It doesn't heat up. There's probably no visual effect at all that this is actually used, and there's no, like, you can't use it again. So it's not like the standard spell that suddenly there's errors. I would say for Ranvon, this is like a very peaceful kind of process because you're connected to this most intelligent supreme being that is, giving you answers as best as he can. So I would say that's about as concrete as good info as you're ever going to get.
Yeah, definitely. Ramvon totally feels relaxed with it. You don't have to have any guard when you know that there's someone on your team as much as this.
Yeah, it's true. I felt that way with Zariel. Sadly, I will never see her again.
Oh, well, once we get your soul back, Brenda, then you can die for real and go and see her.
Oh, that'd be great.
So with the information we found out, I mean, it sounds like Ladamalu is a viable thread for information, but we did come here to find out more about the contract, so maybe we should focus our attention more on the cult.
I think
Sounds like it.
he probably will maybe know a direction to send us, if anything. That's what I'm guessing. Maybe he has a hell lawyer on retainer also that he could refer us to.
Aren't they all hell lawyers?
Well, I'm sure there's specific ones that they really excel at it.
Oh, the best ones are, I should say.
Indeed. Yes. Dominic Lachance. Have you heard of him before? He's very good.
Dominic legit.
All right, so I'm not hearing anything else particular you guys would like to do other than what's already been discussed. So we will assume that the travel continues as you guys spend multiple days sleeping below decks. You spend a couple of days, 2-3 days. Everything is kind of going as normal as you're just making pretty good time. The weather doesn't get creepy like it did before when you encountered this strange individual. Overall, it's pretty standard. You see that there's the sailors are spending a bit of time fishing. This kind of very strange activity has calmed down. If those of you that are on board, if any of you kind of just like, chit chat with the sailors and so forth, they sort of indicate that there's never a double stoppage. It seems as though this group that assails ships that travel in this area is like very well aware. Once you leave one port, you're like fair game, and then once you arrive, if you get caught in between ports, then that's your one time, and if not, you're off the hook in essence. They sort of mentioned to you that they've seen this happen almost all up and down the Sword Coast, as far south as Waterdeep, and as far north as probably Fire Shear there, as I would say, as far as they go. They also mentioned having gone out west sometimes, so probably as far out west as Gundalarn. But yeah, so this whole area has, is known, at least they're aware of this issue, that any ship really can become under this threat. So yeah, you guys continue making your way. You notice the child occasionally comes above deck, and he does seem to have this strange habit of almost like disappearing, not like magically disappearing. It's almost like you see him and you guys are talking and just spot him, and then the next time you look, he's just not there. And you might be a little bit curious, kind of look around for him. You never find him when you're looking for him. And then sometime later in the day, he's just like there again, whether it's down below or whether it's above decks. So this behavior is obviously a bit curious, but probably not any too much of concern. And based on his conversation with Leopold, I imagine you guys are keeping a good distance and not trying to pry too much into what's going on. A couple of times you guys are traveling, you see that there's a sort of like string of dolphins that seem to be following alongside you and kind of hopping out. And you see the sailors kind of tell you that this is interpreted as like a good luck charm, and they will throw some of the fish that they've caught to the dolphins, and the dolphins kind of like squeal with glee back towards them, making their funny sounds. But yeah, overall, it's a very peaceful trip altogether, and you guys make pretty good time arriving at the port of Neverwinter on the middle of that 4th day.
I'm assuming we're long rested also.
Yes.
Yeah, on that note, Adam, do you want me to re-roll Portend or just keep what I have?
I would say re-roll it, so you don't have to roll 4 times, just roll once to represent the fact that you've got something new.
I would say before we land at the docks, Adam, I would go down and use the Diadem of Disguised Self to essentially change my appearance to just look more like I guess like a shipwright. Like kind of normal clothes, maybe a little pudgy, a little fatter mustache. But I don't want to come off as imposing.
Okay, so more of like a commoner, essentially, that is associated with shipwork. Okay, fair enough. Alright, so as you guys arrive at the port of Neverwinter, you can see that this is a very bustling city, a lot of activity going back and forth, and it seems as though the city, maybe the city never sleeps kind of thing is appropriate here. As you can see, there's just like a constant stream of activity. The port area looks to be, again, very hopping. You can see fishermen, you can see merchants of various different stripes from all up and down the Sword Coast that have come here to press their wares. You can see a lot of travelers, people who, as you eye, you kind of assume like, oh yeah, that person's probably an adventurer. This place is just so large that almost anything that you're looking for, you can probably find it here. Is there anything in particular you guys are doing as the boat is getting closer to the port?
Leo definitely bought some commoner clothes, like cloak things, when we were in Luskin, so he's going to start switching out to that. Not that he expects it to fully hide all of his stuff, but a little more comfortable.
Okay, so you're trying to dress down, essentially, and look more like a commoner.
Yes, similar to Cedric without the magic.
Okay, fair enough. Anybody else? Anything in particular? Okay, fair enough. Hearing nothing else, you guys make your way. The boat does. It gets into port. You notice the captain seems to be quite relieved that you guys are exiting and perhaps that it was a safe journey overall. You notice the child sort of just gives the captain this perfunctory nod as he exits once the gangplank is thrown down. He doesn't run, but he seems to move fairly quickly as he walks down as though he is moving with purpose. You can see he just kind of blends into these crowds really quickly. He's like kind of stepping around them on like a beeline as he does so, having no problems moving through this large crowd of folks. You guys step down from the gangplank as well and find yourself in Neverwinter proper. Where would you like to go, or what would you like to do in this large city?
Well, Cedric, do we want to try and find some of your contacts, or do we want to go just straight to the Black Lake District, or find some other place to hold up for now?
Well, we teleported across the continent, so I think we probably outran Myleta, so I would assume maybe a nice scouting trip around the district that we're looking to infiltrate.
I guess since Leo lived here for a number of years, I imagine he is going to play tour guide, although he'll, what you call it? If Cedric tells him to do something, spy related, like don't walk this way or do something else, he'll let him call those shots. But I guess Leo will just keep a general knowledge of this is the thing, and here's this place, and I used to get noodles here.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so perhaps a bit more knowledgeable and pointing out some stuff here and there.
Yeah, I think so. It's obviously a big city, but he's probably been through most of it at one point or another.
Do you know any, maybe fences?
I think Leo probably was all proper on the up and up, unless he bought something that he got swindled with. So I don't think he was intentionally going through any fences or dealing with that. But I'm sure occasionally people came in with seemed like legitimate goods that he went for. So probably not.
Have you heard of one before, though? I mean, maybe somebody who was beating your prices or something?
Has that occurred, Adam?
So remind me, based on your backstory, do you had a business here in Neverwinter, and for how long was that?
Yes, business for several years. I feel like Leo Leo did grow up in Neverwinter, so he's basically been here since birth. I want to say, as I'm trying to remember exactly how old Leo is, 45, he's probably had his business in some form or another for at least 10 to 15 years here in Neverwinter before he closed up shop and moved out to Candlekeep.
Okay, give me a blind history check at advantage.
Sweet. As soon as I drag myself out there, I will do that. It's coming.
You seem to recall that there was this gentleman by the name of Wyatt South, and he operated this kind of pawn shop where he acted as like a middleman, so he didn't actually create anything of his own, but he seemed to frequently have things to sell. In particular, a lot of the things like the artifice stuff that you do, it seems some of that kind of equipment, not necessarily stuff you made, but others, right, made their way to Wyatt South's shop, and he was sort of like the middleman, so he would purchase some things cheap, mark them up a bit higher, and there was always these kind of rumors that, yeah, he'll buy just about anything. There was never anything out and out illegal there, at least as far as you were aware of, and it's not like he, offered black market stuff to anybody that showed up at his shop, but there were always those kind of rumors that persisted.
I think you're looking for South Sales. It's Wyatt. He owns it. Yeah, he was always kind of into that. He'd probably be a good place to start.
Okay. And then I have a secondary idea. Let me know what you think of my train of thought here, but maybe a shop that sells things of occult nature.
I imagine Leo knows of a few, or at least where all those are at. Maybe there's probably like a dark alleyway somewhere.
Yeah, think of the shadiest and creepiest one because maybe they've had dealings with this cult. Maybe an item was bought or sold, correct? And then, we can follow that thread. I mean, Dale is quite intimidating. I assume a shopkeeper would be easy to intimidate.
I'm betting so. Um, so I'm guessing Leo maybe knows at least a place to start, if not a shop.
And this,
On that
and
point.
again, this specifically was some type of association with the cult.
Yeah, like the Diagon Alley Harry Potter shop that like all the Slytherins go and shop at, that sort of thing, I think is what we're after.
I would say you certainly know shadier parts of town, and you know places where law enforcement might be having to spend more time, or it's known that it's more prominent in crime, but you don't know of any cult associations. As far as you're aware, that's, there's not much that has occurred in Neverwinter. You've heard this history now that some of your companions have researched and discovered that there was actually a cult operating in Neverwinter, but beyond that, those pieces of information, you don't recall anything like that during your stay here.
Leo shrugs and he says, I know all the shady places. I don't know if there's any occult shops in them or connected to them.
Well, what do you think, gang? Should we go talk to Wyatt South of South Sales? See if he's had any shady business doings.
It's probably a good place as any to start.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
On the way, Leo. Just because you seem like you know the place the best. If we pass anywhere where I can purchase a kickball, let me know.
Leo does a deadpan stare at Ranvan for a good 5 seconds, and then he nods.
Because of the silence, Ramvon looks like, well, I have to play with that boy. I promised him.
Careful phrasing, and I'll let you know when we go by a Play It Again Sports for Neverwinter.
Perfect.
They
Thank you.
They have a big 5 here. Cool.
Wait, is there J.C. Penney's in Neverwinter?
Oh, you guys are going to make you think of a bunch of fantasy names now, aren't
Hey,
you?
that's blind check.
J.C. Coppers?
Adam, I'm not quite sure how the diadem works. I mean, I know I can cast disguise self through it, but is it still like casting the spell where I need to use like verbal components, etc.?
No.
Or is it? Okay,
So think of it as a necklace, and I would say, for mechanical purposes, you have to put your hand onto the diadem and then like focus of what you want your shape to look like, and then your shape changes. So anybody watching you would obviously see your shape change from one thing to the other, but you don't have to like wave your hands about or say components.
So every if I feel like we're reaching to that hour mark, I'll just so we don't have to do it role playing, but I'll slip away to an alley and re-shimmer myself before it drops.
And you're always assuming the same form?
Yeah, I'll keep the same form.
Okay, fair enough. All right, yeah, so you guys start making your way over. Your intention here is to head over to South Sales.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you head over to South Sales, and you see that his shop seems to be doing pretty well. But you can see that there is this, surprisingly, again, Neverwinter's a large city, but even for large cities, you usually don't see shops dedicated to musical instruments, but there seems to be one just next to South Sales now that you don't recall here from before, and it is actually called Brass Pro Shop. But yeah, South Sales just west of that. Looks like it's doing pretty good business. You can see a lot of people walking on each side, and it seems as though there's kind of like a revolving door of customers heading on in and out.
That instrument shop. That's new. Anyway, this is South Sales. How do you want to play this, Cedric? Do we go in and just say, "Yo, my man Wyatt, what's up?" Or do we just do all the innuendo that we can while we're in there?
And as you guys are thinking of this, give me an idea, Leopold, what you imagine your relationship is with this Wyatt. Is this friendly? Is this competitor where you didn't like this guy? Did you spend a lot of time chatting this guy up?
I imagine they were both members of the Neverwinter Chamber Business Chamber Society, so they would probably see each other at luncheons every now and then. And I think, if anything, Leo would probably not buy fenced goods, but he would, if someone came in looking for something, he'd decline, but then he would say, "Why don't you try this shop over there?" Um, Specifically, I don't know if Wyatt ever did that for him, but that's kind of how he would handle customers coming in. And I think, aside from like occasional bargain shopping or like trying to find things specific and off the wall that wouldn't be at a normal shop, maybe Leo had gone in there. Probably, I'm assuming there'd be like acquaintances that would know each other, maybe on site or maybe not, since it's been a while since they last saw each other. That's kind of, I think, where we're at with that.
Okay, so fair enough. I will say, since you've sort of pointed some business his way over the years. Again, you've never gotten the impression, like, you've heard these stories that he's buys almost anything, and you've heard these rumors that he even buys hot things, right? But it's never been proven to you that that's the case. And the people that you recommend, like, hey, go shop there, occasionally they or others would have made their way back to your shop. Probably, I would say, overall, you sent more business his way than he sent yours, but every now and again someone did come in and say, hey, I was at the pawn shop, they didn't have what I was looking for, but they said you might. So it was like you were definitely doing him more of a favor than he was doing you, but every now and again he did send someone your way.
I should have said, oh yeah, we were the best of friends, and we would always have lunch together every day.
We were blood brothers. We told each other everything.
Yes. Right. We were pupils in the same artificer school. No, that sounds perfect.
All right, so as you guys are outside this, you can see a pretty busy store. A lot of folks heading in, a lot of folks heading out. Seems to be a pretty quick business overall. You don't see people loitering inside the building. It seems pretty hopping.
All right, guys, so what do you think? Maybe we go in, we act like we need to sell this necklace we found, and then maybe something very spooky and scary that only an occult shop would buy, who buys shady stuff kind of thing. See if we can get to the bottom of it, or are we just going to send Dell in there to kind of throw him into the back wall and, ask a few questions?
I think the first option, I mean, Wyatt, he's pretty all right. We don't need to necessarily accost him, at least yet. I think we'll play it cool until we don't have, until we can't anymore, and then we'll get hot.
Yeah, I call it the waterfall effect. You start with the high ground, and then you go down to where it gets worse.
Phew. If I started at the high ground, for me, that would be just poisoning them without them knowing. It's the nicest way I can kill somebody.
I'm sure they appreciate it when you do that.
So yeah, let's go inside. Yeah, anybody? Ranvon? Does this sound like a good plan?
Coming.
All right. Well, look, I don't know if you all noticed, but I'm not the most charismatic in the bunch, right? I mean, I usually say things that most people keep behind a filter.
Well, Leo, you know him best.
I'll start the conversation, and then if anyone has anything they'd like to chime in with, please do.
Okay, well here, and I'll pull out one of those long studded gem necklaces that we got off of those Dao from the temple, and I'll hand it to him.
Concentrating on the charisma enhanceability.
All right, so not that this would be totally foreign, but casting a spell sort of like right in front of a shop might be a bit conspicuous. Do you want to try to find somewhere more private to do this, or you're just kind of letting it all hang out?
Yeah, I mean, maybe what ended up happening is we kind of got there, pointed out the shops, and then while we were talking, we kind of moved off to the side so we didn't look like we were loitering right there, and found like an alley to cast the spell and do our final little discussions.
Okay, fair enough. So we will assume you found a little area that's a bit more private, and you have used that privacy in order to cast this spell a little bit more discreetly. And you said you're focusing on the one that grants you advantage on charisma checks.
Yeah, Eagle Splendor, I think. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah, this seems to take effect, and you find yourself back out in front of the shop.
Dylan, what necklace did you give me? One of the ones from the Dow guy?
Uh-huh. And I imagine when you do Eagle Splendor, like at the end of all of your statements, there's like a soft little caw,
Sure, and a sparkle on
like
his
your
teeth.
eyeball.
His
I just
teeth
imagine,
sparkle.
even with him not touching it, his hair just luxuriously flows backwards as he's
It's a
walking.
small breeze, yeah.
Mhm. This is all accurate, but it's subtle, so people don't pick up on it. Okay, so he'll take the necklace and walk in.
All right, you enter into the shop, and you can see there is a line of about 5 people in front of you, and you can see each one of them kind of heads up to the counter. There's this brief discussion and a little bit of movement of stuff on the countertop, and then they kind of make their way out. As you get your glimpse at the individual behind the counter, you do indeed recognize it to be Wyatt South. He is a little bit more gray since the last time you saw him, but he's probably in line of age with Leopold, so maybe a little bit older, closer to 50 perhaps. But yeah, you see him, he has this soft tone about him that you recall from your conversations in the past. Kind of a no-nonsense guy, and usually straight to the point. But he handles each of his customers in turn. It takes maybe, altogether 10 minutes for these folks in front of you to kind of rotate out before you're the next customer up. You see him kind of looking down as he's scribbling in some writing in this like journal or a log as he completes this last transaction. And he has this set of spectacles on his head that he lowers momentarily as he looks up and spots you.
I love that you just have this thing ready to go, Adam, when we essentially just made this guy up like 10 minutes ago.
Hey, that's what you got to do, right?
This is good. So Leo will kind of smile and chuckle and say, Wyatt, do you remember an old friend? Well, acquaintance.
And you notice that he looks at you for a moment, and then you see the light of recognition as he softly smiles and he says, "Oh my, Leopold, it's been at least a few years. I had heard that you had left Neverwinter."
Sold the old shop, moved south. Candlekeep. It's pretty interesting. Keeps me busy down there. How have you been? How's business?
It's been challenging with all these new taxes that they are levying on us business owners. It's quite unfortunate. You try to make a living and try to make ends meet, but some days it's much harder than others. You see, he turns up. Frank, I'm just going to catch up here. Would you mind handling the customers? And you notice this younger man steps up and kind of nods and motions for people to start heading his way as Wyatt kind of walks off to the side so he can speak to you. You see he actually crosses his arms, much like it is in the picture here, as he continues looking. Yes, things have gotten different since you left. I don't know. It seems as though there is much more focus on rules and regulations. It's getting harder and harder to just make a living.
That was Neverember, if I recall. I'm guessing he's gotten a little more strict in his age.
There's this odd council that was created to crack down on tax evaders and other individuals who seemingly were skirting the system. And unfortunately, all of us got caught up in the net. It's, like I say, quite unfortunate because, we're just trying to make a living and do good by the city. Obviously, we're not saints. We want some jingle in our pocket as well, but it's getting harder and harder, as I say. What brings you back to Neverwinter?
Oh, we were coming through this way. We're actually heading further south, but since obviously I'm from here, I thought I'd show my friends around, and actually it worked out pretty well. We had a few items that we picked up in one of our last little adventures that we're not doing anything with, so we thought we would try and unload them in the City of Splendors, or wait, is Neverwinter the city
Jewel of the North.
And this here in the Jewel of the North, we'll pretend Leo said that right because Matt's dumb. Yeah, I've got this necklace here. I'll show it to you, and then, well, here, you take a look at it, and Leo will kind of pull out the thing.
You notice as
Just
you're
play it.
speaking to him, he kind of raises an eyebrow and is still kind of looking at you before you're handing the items over, and he says, "You say you're at Candlekeep and you're heading south. What? I'm confused."
We were up in Icewind Dale just not a moment ago, but a few weeks ago, and we've been thankfully heading south since then. So
Oh,
Neverwinter's on the way.
Icewind Dale. I've heard stories about that place. Quite cold up there, yes?
It's balls cold, yes.
And you notice he chuckles a little bit quietly. He says, "Oh, yes, of course. I've heard those tales. Okay, well let's see what you have here."
Yeah, to pull out the necklace. Since we, I don't know if I told you, I do some adventuring on the side now too. So we kind of come across these really strange, usually pretty valuable items sometimes. So we kind of, he'll like look around. Not that he really cares that anyone in the shop overhears him, but he'll say, "We actually fought a Dao genie for this one."
You notice his eyes get really wide. Wow, I never imagined when you were just a fellow business owner here that your path would take you to such extremes. That's impressive. I've only heard of them in stories and things.
You just kind of fall into it, and then the next thing you know, genies are flying all around, and the crossbow that you did target practice with in the back, suddenly that becomes really handy.
I see. And you see he kind of takes a glance at your crossbow and kind of nods, says, "Oh, yes, that looks quite efficient." Okay, so, and just to make sure I'm understanding, you're looking to sell this bejeweled necklace?
If you're buying, we might have a few other items for sale too that I'm not sure if you would be the one necessarily, but maybe you could point us in the right direction. It's been a while. It's been long enough that I really don't know too many folks that are still around anymore.
And you see he nods and he says, "Well, I'll be honest. This is quite a valuable necklace. I could purchase it from you, but I can't give you as good of a deal as I could even a couple of years ago. With all these new taxes, I have to make sure I log everything appropriately. One sniff of any kind of impropriety, and that agency of the councils is all over my back. So, to be honest, if you were to take this elsewhere, you could probably get 2,000, 2,500, somewhere in that range. But best I can offer you is 1,800.
Well, I think, I think we've been friends for long enough. I'm honestly, I really don't want to deal with other people as much as I can. So why don't you just take it, and then if you can sell it for a profit, then more power to you. Honestly, I make a lot more adventuring than I ever did running the old water clock shop, so this kind of is fine, really.
You see he looks at you confused for a moment, like almost guessing, like, are you offering to just give this to me? Like he has this look of shock on his face.
Well, maybe I misspoke. I meant to sell it for the 1,800, and then if he makes a profit on it, then great.
All right, so that with that a little cleared up, you see he nods, because that obviously would have been crazy town. So yeah,
no.
He
Here's
nods.
this $2,000 gold thing. Enjoy.
Right, he thought you were just giving him the lottery. So,
It's
right.
a bribe.
Right, so yeah, he nods and he says, "Yes, okay, I appreciate the business. Yeah, I'm sure a noble will come by eventually, or I'll have to get the word out that I have this, because this is a very nice piece. Okay, the 1,800 gold, is a letter of credit sufficient for this?"
That's fine. We'll manage. There's a bank in Candlekeep, so that works perfectly. Now, a couple of other things that I have. I'm not gonna And now Leo will kind of still trying to sell this idea that these are not necessarily good items. He'll kind of like lean in a little closer and be a little more quiet as he's talking to Wyatt. He'll say, "These other items were, well, there was this Asmodeus cult that we ended up having some dealings with, and they, well, you loot when you're done after you've cleaned the things out and they've all run off. So we've got some of their little artifacts that normally I wouldn't deal with, but again, like we don't have any room left, so we're just trying to get rid of stuff. Do you know of anyone that might be interested in that sort of thing?"
Um, gee, I think it would depend on what it is. It's not anything anyone's going to come looking for, is it?
I mean, I guess maybe more Asmodeus cult people, but I don't think so. I think what I'm hoping is maybe a collector that has a private collection might be interested in purchasing some of them, or something along those lines. Or I never really dealt with cults in general back in my day, and I'm just trying to figure out what a good place to unload all of these things would be.
And you notice he kind of eyes you a bit strangely again, and sort of leans forward, putting an elbow on the counter. The timing of this is very curious, I must admit. There was a buyer that came into the shop recently. He was asking for much similar to what you're saying now. Again, I don't want to get wrapped up in any kind of trouble here. You understand, Leopold? These items aren't unscrupulous, I hope.
Oh, no, they're not like, you can't curse someone with them. It's that Asmodeus imagery, which is just not, it's quite frowned upon. So it's fine. It's just art, more or less. But
and you see he nods. Yeah, and you see it's almost like he understands exactly what you're saying. Yes. Oh, okay. Well, one man's profane depiction of terror is another man's artwork. So yes,
oddly enough, yes.
As long as there's not, again, anything that you're aware of that's going to connect them. This buyer mentioned to keep my eyes open for anything kind of related to much what you're saying, and I could certainly, when next time he comes in, I could certainly tell him about your goods.
I think that would be wonderful. I I think we've just been on a boat for the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, so we're all kind of a little sea crazy at the moment. So I think we're going to stay in town for a little while and recuperate. So I'll be here for a few days at least. Is there a good way?
You took a boat from Icewind Dale? I thought it was all frozen up there.
Well, you get the icebreakers and they can get through, and a little magic thrown in there, and it's not too bad.
Wow, you really have seen a lot. Gee, I must say I'm jealous, but at the same time, it sounds quite scary. I'm glad I didn't have to go through what you've gone through.
He'll kind of nod back to one of the companions that are in the shop at Ranvon, and he'll say, "Tell me about it." That one actually got stabbed through the stomach 3 times by a Yeti, but we managed to staple him back up. He's right as rain. It's crazy.
A blind deception check at advantage.
Okay, so
he seems to want to believe you, but part of him is just like, this is so incredulous.
Okay, so Brandel's watching in there, right? So I'm gonna burn a charge my Staff of Fate. I'm kind of bringing in my divination abilities here. I'm watching this kind of turn, and I'm kind of trying to force it into my favor. So you get a 1d4.
Okay, so I'll take that at advantage, and of course, I got to use the Flash of Genius because that's the best ability ever. So here comes the blind check.
So add advantage with a +9 overall.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see he nods at you as you're saying this, and he kind of eyes Ranvan. You see this like look in his eye of almost like just kind of shock as he's looking him over, and he looks back at you and says, "Can't even tell. He looks completely hale and healthy."
His stomach is a mess, but above the face, it's all fine.
You see he nods slowly with a little bit of look of concern in his eyes. "Oh, that's very unfortunate. Wow. Yes, you certainly found yourself a very exciting life. Yes, this man, he came in a couple of days ago and said he would stop back in the next couple of days. So I expect him here. So if you're going to remain in Neverwinter, then do you want to just pop back in a couple of days, or would you like me to send for you if you're staying somewhere?"
I'll just pop back in. We haven't gotten a place to stay yet, so I wouldn't know where to tell you to go. But yeah, I'll check in a few days and see if you've made any progress. That would be amazing. Thank you so much, Wyatt. Really appreciate it.
Oh yes, any time. It's good to be able to catch up. Yes, the business ethic of some of the members of the business board, they've gotten a bit odd, to be honest. So hopefully, maybe things will start turning around with this good fortune.
We can only hope. If anything, maybe you'll be able to sell that necklace for a little bit more and actually make a profit this time.
You see, he nods. I certainly hope so. As I said, they're squeezing us tight.
Fair enough. And before I leave, hey, Wyatt, you don't happen to have anything in the shop that I might be interested in buying?
Oh, I'm sure I do. If you're up to adventuring and things, though, trying to narrow down what it is that you might be able to need. I have a lot of things tucked away in various locations. Do you have something in mind, or just general perusing?
I think general perusing. I don't. We've got most of our bases covered with my group and us. It's just kind of when things strike our fancy that we happen upon, then that's usually goodbye. But I guess if anything interesting you've got down here.
You see, kind of like taps his teeth. I've got this one thing. Sorry to sidetrack. I don't think it would be very helpful for you, but I'm just going to come out and say it. I kind of got cheated in a deal. I don't know if you know of any unscrupulous merchants that you might want to pawn this off on. It would certainly help me.
Is it?
Well, this adventuring type gentleman came in about 6 months ago or so, and he had this shield. It was very well decorated. It was quite beautiful, a piece of artwork in its own right. And he said that he was looking to sell it, and that clearly any noble knight would be honored to bear such a shield into battle and yada yada. He sold a really good story, but come to find out that when I had my alchemist friend, he does the checking items for me. He suspected that it was actually magical. I mean, I paid 500 gold pieces for the shield, and the alchemist friend said yes, it is indeed magical, and eventually he was able to. He had to get one of those gem things to figure out what it did, but he said it's an arrow that it's a shield that attracts arrows somehow.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. So I didn't want to just sell this to somebody else, and the couple of people that came in that I'm not too big fans of, well, still, I try to make a profit where I can, but selling something to somebody that could get them killed is not really my bag. So, I hate to ask, but do you know of anybody that maybe you could pawn this off on?
Maybe.
I'm just looking to be made whole. I'm not trying to get a profit or anything like that. Just if I could get the 500 back on this, that would do me a world of well.
Wyatt, I'll take that off your hands. If anything, I might be able to tinker with it and maybe improve it a little bit more than the opposite of what it's doing right now for you. 500, you said?
Yeah. Oh, that's wow, wonderful. That's yes. Let me get it out of storage right now. And you see he quickly like scampers to the back, and you can hear a little bit of movement. But you remember Wyatt as being really organized and very specific, so you don't imagine there's like a bunch of junk back there. He probably knows exactly where this thing is, and sure enough, he comes back with like 30 seconds later, and he's got it wrapped up in this kind of like felt cloth, but it's fairly large, shield size, and he just sort of gently sets it on the counter here, and he says, "Yeah, there it is. Yeah, 500, right? That would be great."
That's. Oh, yep, Del.
While he goes to the back, I want to detect thoughts through the helm.
On him
then-
specifically?
Yeah, and read his surface thoughts.
Surface thoughts, I think, would probably be something along the lines of, is he still the same guy? I wonder if I can trust him. I don't want to take a chance just yet.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Wyatt is, he's pragmatic. He knows how to do his business. So yeah, I guess Leo will take that 1,800 that we just got off of Wyatt, and he'll turn around and count 500 out of that.
So that was a letter of credit. So yeah, he'll certainly exchange that for you though. So you can just deduct that down to a 1,300 letter of credit.
Sure.
Threw that in our
Randon
bag
will
of
walk
holding. By the way, sorry,
ahead.
I just wanted everybody to know I threw that credit into the bag of holding just so we knew it was there. We didn't lose it through RP. So do what you want with it, Leo.
Okay. We'll just exchange it. He'll scratch out 1,800 to put 1,300 there. So, here you go.
Yeah, fair enough. And Ranvon, did you have something you wanted to mention?
Yeah, Ramvon will walk over because I think I'm the only one who uses a shield.
Okay,
that right?
and you notice
Tell
as
those
you're
and
getting
Lexi.
closer to the counter here, he kind of looks at you with this. You get almost this impression of a guy that's like feeling sorry for you, right? Like if you just stubbed your toe and were like, oh, in pain, that look people sometimes give. Like, you see, he's kind of giving you this look as you approach, and then he kind of like gives you a slow shake of the head.
Ramvon's too excited about what Leo just bought to like really dive into that. So he's like, Leo, did you buy that for? Is that for me or for Del?
I was thinking it was for you, Del. Or you, Del. You, Ranvon. I was looking at Del's name. The Discord.
Oh my gosh, you don't even know his name.
Yeah.
That's great. What's
We've
it
been
do?
we've been playing for 14 months.
Yeah, and it's just completely. Who are you again? Yeah, Leo just kind of smiles at Ranvon. Yes, we may need to do a little modifications to it, but I think it matches your aesthetic. And I'm literally looking at the picture of the shield in D&D Beyond, and it totally doesn't, I think, match Ranvon's aesthetic at all. But Leo says this anyway, and he kind of.
You think it makes me look good? Great. Well, you're
He
you're my guy
poses
for
it
that.
next to Ranvon.
Yeah. With the goggles, it looks great.
I imagine
yeah,
it's just like decorated with a bunch of arrows pointing right at the person holding the shield.
Yeah, exactly. Leo just nods at Wyatt. He says, "Thanks. I'll do something with it. We'll figure it out."
And you see he nods and says, "Oh, if it's been a while since you've been back in town, I know you said you hadn't found somewhere to stay yet, but that alchemist friend I mentioned who helped me out with figuring out the shield, his wife manages a local tavern, so you could certainly stay there. They've got some nicer rooms."
Oh, that would be nice. What's the name of the place?
It's over there on Black Bluff Avenue. I'm trying to remember what she called it. The Come and Stay? I think it was something. It was something kind of jokey and familiar.
Can Leo insight this to figure out if this is a love hotel that he is sending us to?
Give me a blind insight check. You don't think so? No, you think he's just trying to do a favor to a friend.
Okay. Black Bluff Avenue, you said. All right. Yeah, we'll go give that a look.
And you see he nods as well. It's really good to see you once again, Leo. And yeah, just stop back in whenever you get a chance. Like I say, I'm sure that guy will be back around. When he comes here, though, you pretty much just want me to let him know that I know of a cellar, right? Do you want me to give him any specific information to wet his beak?
Okay, me, Matt, I'm trying to remember if we actually have picked up any Asmodeus things. We've got that ring, right?
Dell does.
Yeah. Um, I'll say, well, I think the most prominent item that we've got is a ring with this symbol on it. It's pretty nice looking, so I mean, the ring itself, I mean, the quality of it is pretty good, so I'd imagine, that's for important people, so you can tell them that.
Dell walks up and he places his hand on the counter and like shows the ring.
All right, and if I remember correctly, because you got this all the way back in Avernus, I think you learned that if you press this into something, it actually makes the symbol of Asmodeus, whatever you press it into. And I believe when we were discussing this, you were always making sure not to like put it on your own skin, right?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you sure you want to?
It was
Just say yes, it's free.
It was it was like a minor magical effect where it was so minor like it's not really even listed. It's just like a descriptive magical thing where it said like if you press the ring into something, it will like mark the symbol there. I'll see if I can find it in the PDF real quick, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
So would wearing it on your hand do that?
I thought it did, and I think we had that conversation, and I thought, and maybe this is going back several months into our previous campaign now, but I think the first time that happened, I thought Brad had said something like, okay, I'll just make sure not to do that to myself.
I think, well, I grabbed it and then I had to make a save and I saved and nothing happened. Then I had Brandel look at it, but then it wasn't magical.
Oh, okay. All right, maybe that's what it is. Maybe you hadn't learned this yet, but probably with all this downtime, eventually you would have accidentally touched something and learned of it. So let me get the specifics, but I'm nearly positive that's what it was.
Well, maybe, unless Dell does want an Asmodeus tat, we'll just say he still has it. He just kind of like wearing gloves, picks it up gently out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Shows it. Yep. Yeah, that works for me.
Unless he wants the tat. I mean, I'm not going to get between someone and their ink.
So actually, to give me a moment to track this down in the PDF, and because we're at halfway, why don't we go ahead and take our 15-minute break here, guys? We'll come back, and I'll have those details for you, Dell, and then we can pick up from there.
Sounds good.
Cool.
All right, see you all in 15
See you then.
See you then.
Alrighty, welcome back to the second half of our session today. The group is currently in the shop looking for anything of particular interest and having gotten some good information here from Mr. South, and yeah, the group can continue on with their ways. I know I said, hey, let me get that information, but unfortunately I didn't get it quite yet, but I'll keep looking for it. But what else would you guys like to do while in the shop?
I like that Adam is probably digging through an entire source book for Baldur's Gate while we're role playing an entire session and still keeping up with us.
Like a mundane item that we forgot about 12 months ago.
Right. So I guess we're all outside now and be able to say, well, I think that went pretty well. Okay, so Wyatt actually had a recommendation for a place to stay if we want to take him up on it. We can also just go find somewhere else or do another thing. Cedric, you wanted to check out Black Lake District?
Yeah, I think it's... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Brandel.
No, Brandel, I know we're level 13 adventurers and seem to be, we've bulletproof in a lot of our things that we've experienced, but we seem to forget to buy the simple things like healing potions or superior healing potions. Do you think with all this coin we have, it might be a worthwhile investment? I know, Ranbon, you're exceptional at what you do, but it could be helpful in a pinch.
We could look for some potions. Actually, the alchemist that Wyatt was talking about, does he work specifically for Wyatt, or does he have his own shop somewhere, or does Leo not have any clue?
Leo wouldn't know, but from what Wyatt said, it was a friend of his who had a shop, and then his wife is the one that ran the inn.
Yeah, well, that sounds like it's a good lead. I've never played high-level characters before. I don't know how useful healing potions are.
I love how you're trying to role play the whole level concept here.
Yeah, if you had a regular person who was maybe a 1 and then almost gods like us at 13,
I do feel like a healing potion would have been helpful in our time, in the last few weeks, even like just dump one down someone's mouth and save them. But
probably.
well, the sap did save us for sure.
Well, maybe we'll go over there then and actually get some rooms, and we can ask the matron of the house where her husband's shop is. He should have some stuff.
I'm sorry, Cedric, and of course, some things you wanted to look for.
No, I think just a good surveillance mission is needed. How big it is, how many homes, is there shops, what's the crowd like, how people move there, what type of people are there. There's just a lot of things we need to look at. And then also, we don't even know if the coat is in the same area. I mean, you said the coat was last spotted or known to be around, what was it, the Cloak Tower? So maybe
Yes.
we'll check that out too,
Good idea.
So why don't we go get some lodging, have a home base that we can use, and then we'll kind of go from there, figure out how we want to look at the rest of the city.
Would you prefer in the cover of night, Cedric?
I mean, personally for myself, if I go at night, I kind of, I don't know. You guys haven't necessarily seen me at my best ability yet. I have this unique ability. It kind of happened when I was in Underdark, but I essentially become invisible in the dark. Only direct light can see me. Even if you have dark vision, you can't even see me in dark vision. I'm essentially invisible. So I operate really well at night. I mean, if we need to infiltrate or directly spy on something, then yeah, I can go. But I think for a casual walk through the district and the ward is not anything obscene, so maybe during the day.
I like a good stroll.
I don't suppose Black Lake is on the way to Black Bluff Street.
No, Black Lake is very much set apart from most other parts of Neverwinter, being the high-end area where most of the nobles live. They, really appreciate their security, so you can think of it as having like a big, large wall around it. There's a lot of guard presence in that area. This other inn that has been referred to is more in the common district here of Neverwinter.
Hey, Leo, do you recall sort of a gate that would block the upper whatnots from the lower who-nots, like in Baldur's Gate?
I think they have a similar idea around the district here. So, we look fairly important, so we probably won't get too bothered. But then again, it's been a while since I've been here, so who knows what the guards want to do.
Well, let's make our way to, what did he say? Blackburn Street? What is it called? I don't remember. What?
I wrote down Black Bluff.
Black Bluff. Alright, perfect. And if anybody asks, my name is Captain Windy Pete. Got it?
Yes, of course.
Alright, so you guys exit this area in front of the pawn shop, make your way according to Wyatt's directions. Takes you maybe 2 minutes or so walking through the streets, dodging some other citizens, other shoppers in this area, and eventually you do find this small area where you can see both of these shops. So first, the alchemist shop. You can see there's sort of a symbol of this on the wooden sign, looking like it's potions and like a mixture, and you can see these like tubings. It's all kind of hand drawn or carved into this wood and then painted in white lettering. And within like maybe a 20-step distance from that shop, between a small alleyway, you can see the Come and Stay, which is a smaller inn. And you can see that there is like a nice little area out front of the inn. Think of it almost as like a garden in a sense, where there's like a black lacquered gate, and there's like a few people that are just kind of sitting out there enjoying the little bit of like plantings and a little bit of artistic stuff they have out in the garden. And then there is an entryway just to the east of that.
I think this is the place.
Yes, I like the idea of settling in first before a little excursion.
Right. You know, gotta get your room and all that sorted out. I guess unless anyone has any other little schemes they want to do, Leo will walk into that inn side.
Okay, yes, and as you do so, you can see that the common room here is quite quiet. It seems to be most folks have either are outside, perhaps perusing the town, or maybe people have already retreated to their rooms because there doesn't seem to be much in the way of patrons here. But you do see a middle-aged woman dressed in a very like formal white attire that seems to cover almost all inch of her skin, going up right up all the way to her neck. And these very long shirt sleeves that kind of go almost over her hands even. But as you enter, you see she does give you this soft smile, and she says, "Oh, welcome to my establishment."
Adam, did you say this was a human or a gnome?
She looks to be a human.
Okay. I must, alchemist, gnome, that always just goes together. Okay. Hello. We're here to rent some rooms, if you don't mind.
Mine? No, I would be very much appreciated. How many rooms would you like?
Do you have, a couple of separate ones, and maybe, do you have like a big one that maybe a few people could stay in, like a suite?
I do have one suite. Yes. So altogether, the suite would be able to take 4 sleepers. So you would like a suite and a couple of other rooms, you said?
You know what? I want my own.
I do too. Captain Windy Pete sleeps alone.
Leo will just kind of like indicate towards the two that spoke up and say, I think we would like some separate rooms also.
And you see she nods. So I heard 2, and then you and the rest of your companions will take the suite?
If they're all right with that.
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
You see she does these arrangements fairly quickly, handing out 3 separate keys. Altogether, she says for the night, this charge is going to be 6 gold pieces.
Dell will put 7 on the counter.
She takes the 7 with a soft smile as she collects these and sort of places them down in her little lockbox and hands over the keys.
What time of day is it again?
It's middle of the day. Think of it like about 3 p.m.-ish.
Excellent. And I'm sorry, I missed your name. I'm Brendel Crane.
And you see she looks towards you with a smile and she says, "You can call me Brittany."
Hi, Brittany. Yes. Would you mind circa maybe 8 o'clock this evening have a nice warm bath drawn? Is that possible? For of course an amendment fee.
We do offer copper tub services, 1 silver piece per patron.
Excellent. I'll give you 2. How's that?
She smiles and accepts that as well. And she says, "And you said in the evening?" I shall jot that down.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, you see she takes that down and makes those arrangements for you.
Oop.
Can I get a bath too?
Yes, of course. 2 silver pieces, please.
Lexi will push over 3.
And she smiles as she takes these from you as well.
Brittany, have we heard that your husband owns the shop next door?
Oh, yes, in fact he does. Who told you?
Oh, right. I guess we should have mentioned Wyatt South sent us over here. He mentioned you had some rooms available, so we took him up on it.
You see she smiles and says, "Oh, I am glad to see that word is starting to get around. We're relatively new here, so yes, I'm very glad for your business. Yes, was there something that my husband could help you with? He deals in all sorts of alchemical ingredients and concoctions.
I think we are after the typical adventurer fare of some healing potions, but if your husband has anything interesting, I mean, that's always fun too. So, what's his name? We'll go over there and talk to him here in a moment.
His name is Melbius. Yes, he is in shop. I just spoke with him about an hour ago.
Melbius. Got it. All right. Yeah, we'll go over there here in a moment. I think we'll just put our things in our rooms and then go check them out. I always laugh when people do the moving thingy.
What's on the menu for tonight?
You see, she smiles and says, "Oh, yes, of course. We have a selection for you. Let me check with the cooks really quick." As I get the players over the Neverwinter City map to hopefully allow them to see something different. Oh, well, let's see. Yes, he said that today is the baked duck. We also have artichokes, eggs and rye biscuits, steamed pheasant with mason cranberry tart, and of course lemon pie for dessert.
How much?
For all of that, or did you have a particular meal?
Yes.
Oh, well, yes, wonderful. I could serve all of that to you for, say, a gold piece.
A gold piece?
Yes.
Have 5 servings served up to us later tonight.
Certainly. Would you like to eat here in the common room, or would you like this meal brought to your rooms?
Brought to our rooms, please.
As you wish, good master.
Does the suite have a nice dining area?
It does indeed, yes. It is fairly spacious, about 15 feet or so.
That would be fine. Of course, if you don't mind if we dine together, Del.
Yeah, no, that was the plan. So I'll put an additional 12 down, and I'll have her ask for, good drinks, too.
And you see she smiles as you say
a tea
this.
kettle.
And she says, "And do you, by this, do you mean alcoholic beverages or something lighter?"
He means alcoholic.
Okay, yes, good lady. Well, I can tell you we just got in a batch of rum, if that is your fancy. Otherwise, we have some of the elvish wine left over.
I'll take some of that elvish wine.
Well, I'll take some rum. And, yeah, I miscounted. Make it 6.
6? Yes, no problem.
I was wondering, did Del not like one of the people who's not going to pay?
Yeah.
Brendel gets nothing.
Just tea, please.
All right, yeah. Is there anything in particular you guys would like to do during this time? You've got your meals arranged, you've got your rooms arranged. It seems as though everything is accounted for.
Yeah, I'm going to grab a sandwich on the way out.
I don't know if they had sandwiches in these days and times, but you maybe invent it with 2 pieces of bread and some meat in between.
This is like reminding me of when I used to have to business travel all the time, and you get in your hotel and do all this shit.
Yeah, you want to set the home base first before you go and run around.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Leo just gonna drop his things in his in the room, the big room, and then wait for everyone, and then go to the alchemist shop.
Same.
Yeah, I think I'd freshen up, put some fresh water on my face, and make my hair a little more frizzy, and then head out.
So the baths are coming later, right?
In the evening, yes.
Okay, Lexi will try to freshen up a little bit and go with the group.
Okay.
So what's the plan now? Where are we heading?
Potion shop, right?
The alchemist.
Just gonna find some potions, and then I think wait until night until the Cedric can sneak.
Okay. Did you need to tell your friend where we're staying now that we have a place?
I'll just go and check back there in a few days. He may figure it out on his own too.
I can always send a sending spell to him.
Wyatt isn't super used to adventurers with godlike powers like us, so maybe we'll just go over there and actually say hello.
Okay.
Or you can do it. I mean, I don't want to say no to you, Del. You can use your abilities to do the things that you'd wish to do. Don't let me interfere with your manifesting of your enjoyment.
Well, when we get there, we'll decide.
Fair enough.
You could always do both.
It's true.
Okay.
Go over to the
someone's-
alchemist shop.
Yeah, all right. So the group heads on over to the alchemist shop. And as you make your way over, again, you see that fancy sign has all these sort of carvings into it. And you can see that they're written in this light painted hand. It says the indigo ingredient. As you guys step inside, you notice there is a middle-aged human man standing behind the counter. And you see he looks at you and raises his eyes and says, "Oh, customers! Wonderful, wonderful. Step right up. What is it that I can get for you?"
Yep, go ahead, Del.
Well, we just purchased rooms from your lovely wife, and we're also guided here by Leo's good friend. What was his name again?
Wyatt South.
Wyatt South. So we're obviously adventurers looking for some stronger healing potions and maybe some special brews that you might have.
Oh, I see. Sent by Mr. South. I will have to make sure to thank him the next time I see him. That is wonderful. Oh, so adventurers, you say. Well, I do actually have some potions of healing. That's fairly regular fare here. Stronger stuff, though. Oh, I'll have to see if I have anything in stock. We don't get a lot of that kind of request here. Did you have something specific in mind?
I look at the group.
Matt is currently looking at the potion list on D&D.
It was Brendal's idea.
Well, yes, of course. We should get some, maybe little more superior healing. We'd be happy to pay for, but healing potions are fine. Maybe.
Do you have any of those giant strength potions? Lexi likes those.
I believe I do, yes. Let me see what I have. Just, if you don't mind, just give me a moment.
What about should we ask for protection potions of some sort?
It's probably not a terrible idea.
Protection potions. Like what? Like protection from fire? Or like ice?
From your mustache, more like.
Nice.
It's nice, isn't it? Captain
Well,
Windy
yeah.
Pete, his mustache is so large. And he's gonna wink much larger than Cedric's. Look at it.
You know, I was busy like messing with the dogs. What did you disguise as? I'm sorry, Dylan. I can't picture it. I don't remember.
The way I see it in my head is, did you ever watch Aladdin?
Like over and over.
So Jasmine's dad, the little
Oh,
king,
yeah.
the short little king, that's what I imagine Cedric looks like.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, there it is. So that's
Priceless.
what he
Speaking
looks like
of,
now.
do you have a
Look.
magic carpet I could buy?
He just doesn't have the actual wraparound beard, just that big mustache.
You notice he comes back from looking at some of his stock, and he says, yes, in fact, I do have some of those more potent potions of healing that you're referring to, but they're quite pricey. Are you sure this is something, no disrespect, of course, but you have this type of coin to purchase with?
What kind of price are we talking about?
That's what my roll was for, so being that it's a consumable, it'll be half of that, but I could sell these to you for 9,500 gold apiece.
It's probably...
Brando will say, not for all of them, just one.
Well, these are quite potent healing potions.
Well, the thing is, we have to. I mean, everyone has a budget, even the most wealthy people's, right? So, just a matter of allocating resources as a business owner, you know.
Indeed, yes.
So how much for the normal healing potions then?
I can sell those to you for 60 gold each.
Okay, I'll take 4. Please, let's see, 6, 4. I'll take 4.
4. Yes. You see, he pulls on his paper and looks, and he says, "Yes, I have 9 in stock, so I can sell you 4. Yes." And
Excellent.
he goes back and procures 4 potions of healing for you, and you hand him over 240 gold pieces.
Yes.
I don't suppose you have any growth potions.
The giant ones or a different type?
Just a regular potion of growth.
Potion of growth. Let me see if I have that in stock. Afraid I don't have those at the moment.
All right. I don't think I need anything else.
What potions do you have besides healing?
My stock is limited at the moment. I do have at least one of those giant strength potions your friend here was referring to. I know I've got a couple of those fire breath ones, and I think that might be about it, unfortunately.
Ooh, how much for the fire breath potion?
Fire breath, yes. Let me check and see what the cost on that one was. $200 gold pieces I can sell this to you for.
I think we can afford that.
Yeah, I'll buy that one. Sure thing. There, Mr. Alchemist man. Tell me, do you have anything that you find particularly interesting that you would like to show us?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean.
Oh man, this one breathes fire. Do you have something that you personally, as an alchemical master yourself, something that you find interesting? A recommendation, per se.
Well, you know how they say every problem has a tool, and a tool is appropriate for that problem. Therefore, you need to know the problem to know the tool. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Let's say the problem is, Man, what's a good problem to solve, guys?
Dying?
That's a good one. We got 4
Actually,
of those, though.
I was thinking a potion of invisibility might be quite useful.
That's cool. You got anything like that, man?
I'm afraid I do not.
Okay. What about, Do you have anything that makes you smarter? Or maybe quicker on your feet?
No, unfortunately, that is my stock of potions at the moment. Things come and go. Most of this, to be honest, the healing potions that your friend here bought, I was able to make those. That's within my skill set. But some of these other things, they only come about through trade and bargain, that sort of thing. I don't have a regular supply of many of these potions that you're interested in.
Completely understand. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry I wasn't more helpful. If there is something more mundane that you need, I certainly could sell you sun rods or alchemical fire or flasks of acid, that sort of thing.
I'll take a couple of the alchemical fires. That sounds fun.
Certainly, I can sell those to you for 60 gold each.
I'll take 5.
Wow, oh, yes, wonderful. And you see he goes back and comes up with 5 alchemist fire for you. You see,
Thank you, Melvis.
as he's handing these over to you, he kind of looks at you. You kind of get this impression of like Probably even without needing Dell's helmet here, you're getting this impression of how has this dock worker got all this money on him, but he doesn't seem to complain too much as he hands him over and accepts the coin.
I feel like 5 of them is the same as someone buying the toilet paper and eggs on Halloween.
Probably as far as red flags going off.
What about a potion of underwater breathing?
Oh, now that one I might actually have because that's a rare request. I did have... Oh, there was this gentleman that came in not too long ago. Let me check my roster here. Oh, no, it looks like that was sold just yesterday. I am terribly sorry.
That's okay. It's kind of a whim anyway.
Well, maybe we'll check in in a few days. We're staying for a little bit. See if we can't. See if you come across anything else before we leave.
Yes, you said that you all were adventurers, right?
Indeed.
Yes. Yes, please stop back in the next couple of days. I might have a proposition for you. I have been tinkering with something that might work out quite well for some folks in your line of work, but I need field study, case examples. Make sure that it's, well, everything lines up properly and it does what it's supposed to do. You understand?
I actually do. Yes. I think we might be interested in doing some field testing for you.
Great. Let me get it together in a safe transportation method, and yes, a couple days, check back.
All right, we'll do that.
Thank you so much for shopping here. It's really appreciated.
Have a good one, Melbus.
And he smiles and nods at you.
As we walk out, Brando will say, Leo, I do not intend to be a test rat for some mediocre alchemist. He clearly has no skill.
Well, I think everyone starts at different levels, and I think if this, whatever it is, works, maybe he'll get better too. I'm okay with. I've pawned many of my items off on people before to get them to test, so I'm happy to do that for him.
Well, I guess it's the way of business.
What do you think the chances are that he's trying to sell you another one of those auto injectors?
Well, I'll never make that mistake twice. Don't worry about that. Out of character. I have no idea what the auto injector was. Where was that one?
Yeah, when was that?
Maybe that happened before we went down to Avernus, and I'm actually metagaming.
Yeah, that was Boulder's Gate when we first went and talked to the Gons.
Yeah, that's that same temple you guys were in recently, but way back in the beginning.
The only thing I remember, but in my mind it popped up random, was you buying that mundane rock for like 100 gold or something. I don't think I ever told you that it was just a normal, non-magical rock.
It's magical.
Leo is working on it, or will be. Leo told him that he is going to mess with it.
You got rock swindled.
Okay, so Rainbon probably heard about that from someone else, and he couldn't have said that to Leo. But the context for Matt here is that someone tried to sell us before we went into Avernus. We had like no money. They wanted to sell us some expensive system that would auto inject potions into you if you went down or something.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
I totally missed that. That must have been like right before I joined. Man, Leo would have been all over that shit too, but.
It was crazy expensive, I seem to recall. It was like we could get a bunch of cool stuff or just this.
Yeah. Stupid.
Can't
cool
afford the
potions
for the auto injector if we buy the auto injector.
So are you guys still in the shop at this time, or have you exited?
We're exiting. We've exited. We're
Alright.
talking outside. We're not seeing off that front.
So as you're standing sort of out front and having this conversation, you notice the door opens, and he looks at you and goes, I just thought of something else. Yeah, come back in for a moment.
Here we
Right.
go, I mumbled to Leo.
What's up, Melvis?
As you enter back in, you see he closes the door and actually locks it, and he says, "Okay, so this may sound a little bit suspicious, but you said you're adventurers, right?"
I
Yes.
am just
Somehow, yes.
So I've got this thing that I'm trying to test, and that again, in a couple days, I can definitely work that through. But you see, there are these certain types of substances that you can apply to your weapons to deal like damage to things, right? But the problem is, a lot of monsters and enemies, so I hear, are resistant against that stuff. But I've found a way to combine stuff with other stuff to change how that works. Does that make sense?
Brando will sigh in the background.
You've lost me. Could you go over that all a what slower?
he can give us something that makes our weapon magical.
Not exactly. You see, there's this stuff that can be used on weapons, and then it causes the people hit with those weapons bad effects.
Fire?
Kind of.
What kind of effects?
And you see he looks at you guys, kind of eyeing you. You know, no, maybe this one's not it. Check back with me in a couple of days, and we'll go over the other one, though. Because that one, I definitely want you to test.
Well, if you want us to try something, I mean, we hit people with weapons a lot, so, we're definitely good ones to do this.
We're bound to find some sort of trouble within the next couple of days.
I guarantee
That's
it.
an understatement.
Leopold, go ahead and give me a blind persuasion check.
Okay. Has this been still the hour since I cast Enhanceability on myself?
Let's see. That was when you entered the pawn shop.
Shop
So yeah,
at
I would
Wyatt.
say you probably got like another 15 minutes left on that.
Beautiful.
You see, he kind of narrows and he says, "Okay, you see what I'm talking about is poison, and some people don't like that because it's underhanded, or people think it's like dishonorable. But you see, poison is just something you use to add an effect, right? But the challenge is that there are, from what I hear from adventurers, so many enemies that are resistant or immune to poison. But I've found a way using a compound that you can mix with a poison that actually changes its damage type. So it no longer deals poison damage, but it deals a different kind of damage. It's a little bit expensive.
I'm gonna have to cut you off. I don't think we're the types to use underhanded methods
I'll
like that.
take it.
I
Sounds great. I'll want it. How much for it?
You see
What
his
did you
eyes
say?
looking back and forth between the two of you. Yeah. So if you're willing to come back, and you see he kind of like walks back to this corner of the counter here. Okay, so I've got two different kinds right now. Understand though that when you mix this, it has a short shelf life. So you have to mix it, and then you have to use the resulting concoction within a minute. So I know it's a short time window, but it's potentially very valuable. You get my drift?
I do. I've been mixing poison since I was a young boy.
And you see he kind of looks you up and down and gives a little bit of a chuckle and says, "Oh, okay, yes, all right, well then I'm sure you'll know what to do then." So, yes, okay, so right now I just have the two types that I'm experimenting with others. I have what's called a fire rock and a frost rock. And if you drop the fire rock into a vial of poison, it will change the composition of the poison to make it deal fire damage. Same with the frost rock and cold damage, of course. I could sell these to you for 50 gold each.
Sounds great. And you know what? For your ingenuity, I'll give you 75 each if the next time you make one, you think of me and make an extra one for me. How's that sound?
Oh, that sounds great. Now, of course, I'm working on other ones too. I was trying to find some way of compressing electricity for like a thunder rock, or a lightning rock perhaps. But do you have any types that are particular? And he's saying this whole thing as he's handing them over and collecting coin from you.
Actually, maybe think of using like there's certain plants that grow near graveyards, and undead. I'm sure you would have plenty of people if you could find something that would work effectively against the undead.
Oh, I thought you were going a totally different direction with that one. Okay, so you mean like somehow harnessing the power of light or holiness to deal like a radiant type of... Okay, that one might be a bit more of a leap, but let me see what I can do.
Sure thing. And you know what? Once I use these, I'll give you a survey of my thoughts.
Oh yes, that would be great. I'm pretty confident in these two because I've seen them work before, but yes, the new ones I'm sure will be a little bit of a trial and error.
Thank you.
So out of character note, guys, this is one of the things that Poison and Poisoner is like a particular build of Cedric's, but literally when you start looking through the monsters, more than like 50% of them are resistant to poison. So I've always wanted to make that feat a little bit more attractive, and the core concept of that feat is you're spending gold to do more damage, right, with poison. So I figured this would be a cool way. You spend a little bit more, but you can actually then use it to a better effect because so many opponents, like I say, are resistant or immune.
Would have been cool for a golem fight we just had recently.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam. I'm excited to use it.
Yeah, so feel free to add Fire Rock, Frost Rock. Again, basic idea there is if you're out of combat, obviously it's not an issue. If you're in combat, it would be an action to mix this stuff together. I think your skill allows you to apply poison like as a bonus action instead of an action, right?
Yeah, here, I'll post it.
Okay, so you can apply poison to a weapon or a piece of ammunition as a bonus. So what I would say is, because this is like one extra step, I would say you can change the damage type and apply it as an action, or you could do it separately, right? But you won't be able to do all of that as a bonus action.
That makes sense. That sounds good to me too.
All right, good deal. We'll try that out and we'll test it. We'll see how it goes.
Sweet.
All right, fair enough. So yeah, you guys have discovered some interesting stuff here. I imagine this wraps up your discussions with the alchemist. And where would you guys like to head on to next?
Another shop.
It's a shopping session.
I think we should probably do some surveying before we lose any light for the day. And rendezvous back at the end. Get some good rest and think about what course of action we want to take. But here's the question. Do we follow the thread of Ladamalu or follow the thread of the coat? What say you?
They might intersect.
Yeah, maybe.
I was kind of thinking that, having this ring might help us with the cult.
I think
in some way, shape, or form.
And I think it has already, at least. Cedric, maybe we follow both. I know it's splitting our attention, but why don't we go get the lay of the land over at Black Lake and formulate a little plan to figure out where Ladamalu is there, and then in a few days we'll have that Asmodeus contact happen, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, I think those are good ideas. But what we know about Ladamalu is that he never leaves. He stays in his wonderful chalet, and not much. We're just gonna won't be able to see much, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
I just thought of an idea. When I managed to find the scry on Ladamalu, I noticed a lot of interesting artwork in his... As I dropped my pen. In his mansion. I wonder if we could canvass some of the artist types around town and see if anyone has gotten requests for odd paintings that they've done.
Oh, an art dealer, a gallery. I'd love galleries. They have good brie and little toasts.
I love those little toasts.
I would really like to poison somebody soon.
You got your new stuff.
Don't mind.
Oh my god, guys. Okay, so I finally tracked it down. This is why it was such a trouble. This ring is from that separate PDF I got that was called Encounters in Avernus. It was like a companion thing to the module. So here it is. Okay, so it's a platinum ring, and this is, you found this on the corpse of a Cambion, so it was on the skeletal finger of a Cambion. It says, in a platinum ring, this ring burns the sign of Asmodeus onto any surface. So I believe that's what you're remembering, Del, when you tried to pick it up. I think I had you make a dex check to see if you touched the surface, and you didn't, so you had no issue. It sounds like you didn't ever notice that, but again, I would say downtime all this time, certainly you bumped into something at some point in time that you would know that now. So it's a platinum ring, and basically think of it as if you put the face of that ring against anything, it'll burn that symbol right into whatever the surface is.
Okay.
That would be quite useful, I would think.
Yeah.
Not bad. Leo is thinking how he can make a ring like that, but for his business sigil that burn into stuff.
Adam, could you just help me out with a visual, if you wouldn't mind? The Yggdrasil sap that Lexi and I bought at that shady place. I assume it looks like sap, right? It's kind of like a thick liquid.
So I'm imagining sort of like a natural container. So think of this as almost like a stick or a twig that you would actually, it's kind of translucent, so you can see through the edges of it, like a stalk, right? Almost like a plant stalk, and then you would break it, and that's how you would drink the sap inside. So you're seeing this material kind of inside this natural stalk.
And then for the lady's love, is that more of like a tobacco that you smoke kind of thing, or is that more of a liquid as well?
So this is a liquid because it's actually succubus sweat. So it's basically, sweat. So it'd be water.
So I could maybe sort of slip that in somebody's drink, not the party. Don't anybody think I'm trying to do anything weird. But like if we were like to infiltrate somewhere, and I could slip that in somebody's drink or something, right?
I'm sorry. Hang on one sec. So, all right. So this was the stuff that it starts off as succubus sweat, and then it is converted into So it says alchemists can potentialize. I don't think that's a word, but I like it. This effect, making it stronger, longer lasting. So it becomes a paste. So it says when this paste is applied to the skin, it removes all inhibitions from the user. So it's actually it's a liquid that they turn into a paste, which gives it the effect.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
I just wanted to see if I could become a poisoner in other ways too.
I think there's a lot of potential for nefarious, underhanded means, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, but like in the nicest way.
A good poisoner, right? Yeah, those guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just don't mix it with my facial cream, thank you.
I have a sudden urge to find a bathhouse.
All right. I think we're going to go and just do a once around Black Lake. I keep wanting to say Blackguard because I'm remembering the Neverwinter Night game and the Blackguard subclass. But anyway, do we want to go take a look around there?
I think so, because you said perhaps it's walled off and there's guards. Maybe we have to figure a way out just to get in, so maybe we should learn that now.
Let's do it. And then we have to get back in time for the bath.
Oh, good idea.
Okay, so Black Lake is the rich area of town, and it's not where like just anybody can get in there. So knowing this, and obviously being from here, Leopold, you would know that it's not like you'll just be able to walk right in. Now, if somebody has business inside, or there's some, if you're very affluent, they might let you in, assuming you just belong there. But you'll definitely want to come up with a plan for how you're going to get in, rather than just walking to the gates and hoping not to get any interference.
I think our goal on this one was to actually walk around the wall, the outside, and look for maybe spots where we could just hop a tree, or if some guard station isn't set up very well or something like that.
But in a way that doesn't make it seem like we're casing the place.
Okay, so you're trying to inconspicuously case the place and understand sort of the ins and outs of the Black Lake District.
Right.
Was anybody thinking something different, guys? I mean, that's what I thought would be a good idea to start, at least, right?
Sounds good.
All right, so what I'm going to ask for here is a group check, and this is going to be a group stealth check.
Can I say before everybody starts making their checks that knowing that I want us to be sneaky and calm, that I could pull everybody aside and give us a spell before we actually get into it, Adam?
Nobody's rolled so far, so yeah, I would say that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, these will be blind checks, yes.
Okay, so okay, so everybody within 30 feet of me. And then we'll kind of, I guess, try to stay into as much of a like you said, inconspicuous case as we can.
I like being sneaky. I think it's one of the things I'm good at.
So 5 of 6 of you succeed on this, meaning this is a successful skill challenge. So you're able to move about quietly, carefully, and discreetly around the edges of Black Lake and try to see what you can see. I would say overall, you can see that this, again, is a very well secured area. There is a significant guard presence. Every opening in the wall of Black Lake allows for you to see several guards. Each of these guards looks to be dressed fairly well. They don't look like the rabble of other cities that you may have been in. Like their armor almost looks formal or decorative, and they look like they're very keen-eyed and very careful. In addition to the guard posts, there's frequent guard patrols that sort of go up and down the thoroughfare where all of these openings in the wall of Black Lake are. So overall, I would say you're not finding any obvious areas where you think, oh, we could just hop over the wall here, short of doing something magical.
Yeah.
And on the inside, is it like a fence, like a slotted fence, or is it more like I guess like wrought iron versus wood, kind of no way to peek through?
It's actually like a stone wall, so it's very obvious. There doesn't look like to be anywhere that you could misty step through, for example. Now, if you used one of the gaps or something, you could do that, at each of these gates. But knowing that people in this world have these type of abilities, and knowing that this is where most of the rich folks live, you would imagine, seeing that some of their defenses, that they have considered these kind of things. Now, they're not going to necessarily be able to stop you if teleported right somewhere, but the idea of like a low-level caster just walking up and misty stepping 30 feet and them not being aware, you're pretty sure that's something that some trick they've seen or heard of before.
All right. So what I'm thinking is we need a legitimate, well, at least it sounds like a legitimate reason to be in there.
Well, I mean, if we find, I can imagine I could teleport ourselves on the other side of the wall.
But they might know, or an alarm might be tripped. They may not know where we are, but they'll know someone has illegally gone in, I guess. I don't know.
You think that this wall here has the excellent defenses of Candlekeep, preventing all teleportation magic? That's quite impressive.
Well,
Did you
I
ever
don't
hear of
think
that before?
the DM just said they'll know. Leo says, "Well, I don't know. I don't think it'll prevent us from going in, but knowing something has happened, that's a lot easier than preventing it. So I imagine they've got something like that might detect arcane intrusions."
Maybe going in through the front door is not a bad idea.
No, at Baldur's Gate, we just had to give guy $10.
Well, it's Neverwinter. It's a little bit more richer here.
Oh, the gem of the north. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I think we got some time. What if maybe we go check out the tower too? You think it's possible to make it there in time before the sun sets on us, Leo?
Probably.
We know now, big stone wall, have to go through the front gate. If we teleport in, we'll probably be known. We'll have to be super sneaky. We figured it out, right?
I think if anything, we got enough to plan to get in there now. Worst case, also, it might be just as easy to try and charm the guards. So that's another thought. Which tower do we want to go to?
Brandal said, what was it, Brandal? You were reading your journal entry while we were walking the other day, or what was it? You said the Cloak Tower? What was it, southeast side of the city?
Yeah, southeast side of the city. The Cloak Tower is where they had the last engagement with the Fiend of
Cult of Raging Fiend?
Yes, that's what it was.
Well, let's go take a look. It probably won't be anything obvious, but maybe there'll be something that we can unearth. Adam, we don't want to miss the baths, though. So if this puts us in jeopardy of going to get the baths, then...
Absolutely, can't miss the baths. So as far as heading over to the Cloak Tower, this was information, Brando, that you've gotten from your research. Just to make sure that I'm understanding what you're hoping to get here, is this was... the information that was given to you is that there was a battle inside of Neverwinter where the guards discovered the Cult of the Raging Fiend still being there, and then did what efforts they could and sort of got them out of their hidey holes, that sort of thing. And there was a brawl that occurred outside of the Cloak Tower. So when you say you want to go there and look around, I just want to make sure you're not thinking that you're going to find some obvious sign of the cult, right? Because this is stuff that happened a while ago, first of all, and there's been no real sign of the cult recently since that happened.
Yeah, so that's true. But that's where the last engagement was with the Neverwinter Armory. That's actually what I had in mind. But if we can't get through the wall, yeah, at least it's something else to look at.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not expecting anything fantastic, I would assume.
Okay, fair enough. So you're heading out nearby the Cloak Tower. I was able to find a quick map of Neverwinter City just to give us a visual, so I'll pull that up for you guys real quick. Okay, so this is a rough illustration of Neverwinter City. So Cloak Tower, obviously you can see... Oh, well, you can't see that pointer because it's set to not allow you to see it. But obviously you can see that's over this way. So it sounds to me like you guys want to make your way through the city, find yourself somewhere nearby the Cloak Tower, and just kind of scan around here looking for anything that would just stick out to you or anything, of any note.
When the guards engaged the Cult of the Raging Fiend, were they like in hiding, or was it like they found him in the middle of the street?
Think of it sort of as like an investigation that had been going on for quite some time, and the city guards were following down all these leads and putting clues together and making some connections, and then they realized, hey, we've got this location in town where we think is one of the hideouts or the main gathering places of this cult, and they went there and investigated, and this is when it became too obvious for the cult to try to play it off, and this broke out into an actual fight then, when the guards were fighting against the cultists because they had successfully identified them. Many of the cultists died that day, and the main power of the cultists, I guess you could say, was put to the sword that day. But it was always said that many of the members, or some of the members, tried to flee and seep back into normal residency and hide their affiliation with the cult. So there was this big brawl where many of their members died. But again, if you know enough, there's people that believe that wasn't actually the end of the cult.
And
What do you guys think? Shall we go?
Well, just to be clear, Adam, too, this was hundreds of years ago, right?
Not that long ago, but it wasn't real recent. I'll have to check my notes. I want to say it was something like 20 to 30 years ago.
Oh, that's recent enough for people maybe to remember, some old folks.
But Tom confirmed that they're still in operation.
And that they... Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, maybe there's something under the tower. I mean, it's obvious. As we look around, Adam, the people that we've seen so far, I mean, it doesn't look like shady folks, right? I mean, it looks like, well, normal commoners, right?
Are we talking about in the city core, where you guys are like just doing your shopping and making your way over?
Yeah, just in general, as we've been walking around so far, it's not like...
I mean, pretty typical for any big city. You see quite a different collection, merchants, commoners, servants, warriors, soldiers. You see a lot of different stuff. This is a huge, huge city. I'd say the one takeaway you certainly have is that this place is very cosmopolitan. So you're seeing people from all over Faerun here. I mean, obviously the vast majority of them are Sword Coast residents, but people come from far and wide. So you're seeing Chultans here. You're seeing people from you're seeing people from, probably as far north as like Luskin. I mean, there's a lot of people from all over here with different styles of dress and accents on the air as you're hearing people talk and communicate and so forth. Quick addendum. So the cult information was as recently as 13 years ago. So 13 years ago is when the big battle broke out, and the cult was basically put to rest as far as an actual organized effort.
Hey, Leo, what do you know of the Cloak Tower? Maybe you can do a check or something.
I'm sure I know some basic stuff, but beyond that... yeah, I don't know. What do I know specifically, Adam?
Give me a blind check to history. Well, this will just represent general knowledge. Yeah, it's like a wizard's tower inside of Neverwinter. It's associated with the Arcanist Quarter, so that's that whole area of town is where more of like wizards and wizardly pursuits are done. As far as you're aware, the Cloak Tower is sort of like an arcane combination of academy in a sense, but it's not. It doesn't have like a ton of students, but it teaches the arcane arts there. As well as sort of an area of research.
Wizards go there to wizard, Randall.
Pretty much.
Why don't we just go take a look? I'm kind of... Maybe there might be, like... how they have secret maps that lead people to places? Maybe there's some Asmodeus secret little things that might lead us onto a treasure hunt to find the cult. Maybe not.
I'm up
Probably
for it.
Not. Let's just go take a look, and then we can say we saw it and that it was impressive.
Okay, so your plan is to just walk over towards the clock tower, kind of hang out in the area there, and just observe and see if anything jumps out to you.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So you guys make your way through the city, heading over into that direction. Let's see. I'll ask everybody to give me a perception check. This you can just do publicly. So Cedric, Ranvon, Leopold. As you guys are, you first get here, you get off the boat, you notice a lot of things, but things don't necessarily jump out to you or cause patterns or anything like that. When you're first off the boat, maybe 20 minutes, and you're just kind of making your way through town, one of you, we'll say Ranvon, you spot this juvenile blue jay that it flies fine, but it's like kind of fat, like a puffball blue jay that's very young, and you can see it has these tiny little wings, but when it flies, it seems to fly just perfectly fine. It's not doing anything crazily impressive like aerial bombs or anything like that, but it seems to be moving from sort of like rooftop to rooftop. When you first spot it, it's maybe 200 feet away from you or so, and you're just like, oh, that's kind of interesting. It's kind of far away, but you caught the sight of it. It's somewhat interesting. Like 20 minutes later or so, as you guys are making your progress through the town, do some of this shopping, Leopold, you spot this same bird. You don't really think much of it. A little bit later on, Cedric, you spot this same bird. Eventually, as you guys are just sort of chit-chatting and having regular conversation, the three of you realize each of you has spotted this same bird, and that it is a little bit peculiar because usually juvenile blue jays can't fly that well, right? They can do little tiny short flights, but they don't do anything all that long. And it seems as though this blue jay, this juvenile blue jay, has been in many areas. You kind of get almost this weird impression like, could this thing actually be spying on you? Is it a familiar or something like that?
I think we'll kind of... where are we right now when we finally kind of realize this? At the club tower?
Not quite there yet. I would say you're sort of making your way through the city core. You're probably, I don't know, a short distance away from the clock tower, let's say 300 feet.
But maybe Leo will kind of pull everyone aside. Does he have eyes on the bird right now?
As you scan around after having this conversation and having this realization, you look around and sure enough, about 200 feet away or so, you notice this little tiny puffball bird sitting on top of one of these buildings here, seem to be looking in your direction.
You want me to shoot it?
I can mind sliver it and kill it if you need me to. I can do it without anyone realizing that I'm casting.
We might get there. I'm just wondering if it's better to, figure out who's doing it, or if it might just be a bird that's been like commanded to go and follow us, or it might be someone that's turned themselves into a bird. Druids can do that. I don't know. Maybe Brandel throws a dispel magic over there at it, and we see what happens.
Oh, that bird over there.
Just put your hand down.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to have to point at it if I'm going to cast a spell at it. Should we just know... A part of gaining intelligence is not defeating the intelligence. It's knowing that we can't get through the wall, that we're being spied on through a familiar. Though it's a really good information, I think might be a good night.
Everyone get around me so you block some view. Unless Lexi's throwing a javelin. Okay.
I was going to say, I think that might be a little far for a javelin.
Yeah.
Leo's going to pull out the scrying orb, and he's going to scry on the bird. And if it's anything, I guess, illusion, it'll show up with the true sight that this scrying orb also has.
Okay, so here's where I got to think of something, and I can't explain what I'm thinking of because otherwise it'll give it away. So give me one moment.
Nice. Boy, that little item, that was a nice one to grab.
Yeah, it's really, really powerful.
It does not work.
Shit. All right, never mind.
Did you break it?
I didn't break it. Even birds have strong wisdoms.
Oh.
Whatever that means. He'll stuff it back in his bag. All right. What do we want to do? Try and jump it, or just let it watch us and not react? But we know it's there, so we don't have to react.
Brendo, you're familiar with familiars. Is it a certain range away from its caster that it can go, or is it indefinite?
No,
Maybe.
it's not. You have to be within, if I recall, 100 feet.
To command it, but
It
might
must
just
be
doing its own
while
thing.
the familiar is within 100 feet of you, you can communicate with it telepathically. So if it is communicating with the familiar, he's got to be around here somewhere within 100 feet. When's the last time you saw it? Was it away from the clock tower, or was it coming from the clock tower?
It's been following us as we've been moving.
Let's go back and see if we find someone around. Who's controlling it?
How about maybe I've got a plan. I mean, maybe you guys slip away and I'll stay behind and see if I can find anybody following us.
Do your invisibility thing.
Go to the shadow.
Okay, you weirdos, just shield me for a second.
He's going to the shadow, Leo.
The shadow notes.
I'm just going to not go invisible, Adam. I'm just going to turn off my diadem and I'm going to pull up my cloak, or my cloak of elven kind, and I'm just going to slip away from the party, maybe about 50 feet away or so, and just follow them from behind as they walk. And just I want to see if there's anybody who gets up and moves with us and stops with us and anything like that.
Okay, so again, I'm just picturing here you guys almost make like a little cordon and you're in the center there. You drop this image and suddenly you look like your normal self, and then you're making your way around and just trying to basically gain information and look around for anybody that might be tailing the group.
Yeah, I don't want to make it seem like I'm with the group anymore. I want to, it's my best to just specifically look to see if anybody's moving with us.
Well, then I suggest we walk back and towards where you last saw him, and maybe it'll lead us to the conjurer.
Okay, so as you start this plan, you guys all get together. You break apart. Then, as you look to your normal form once again, you start making your way, say, back west, for example. You move like 50 feet or so. The group stays here. Those of you that are still in the group, you would notice that the juvenile blue jay flies even higher and takes like think of a larger building or maybe even a tower. It seems to go up there where it has like a better visual. Again, you're getting the impression it's a good probably 300 feet away from you guys at this point, but it's looking down from very high up. Again, being that you've noticed this and you're putting clues together, the impression you get almost is that it's trying to keep eyes on both your main group here and now Cedric that is broken away.
Seeing that, I'm gonna try to lose the bird, Adam. I mean, I'm gonna pull my cloak of elven kind up and try to Assassin's Creed when you try to blend into the crowds. I'm gonna try to do that and maybe go in and out of the different alleyways and change my appearance a few times to help keep myself hidden, but just do my best to try to break its vision from me.
Give me a blind check. And this gives you advantage with your cloak, I imagine?
Yeah, cloak of elven kind. When the hood is up, perception checks made to see you have disadvantage, and you have advantage on dexterity stealth checks made to hide, as the cloak's color shifts to camouflage you.
Okay, so the bird would get disadvantage on its perception check.
And then I would get advantage if this is a stealth roll. I don't know what your blind check is, but if that's what it is.
All right.
And also, I don't know how long it's been since we left the other Black Lake district, but if it's been within an hour, Pass Without a Trace is still active too.
So Pass Without a Trace is what creates this sort of like aura of darkness around you. I would say you certainly wouldn't be able to move through the main areas of the city with that on without being detected, right? Because the idea is that it like dampens sound and it makes like an aura of darkness in a sense. So you would be, people looking at you from afar would certainly pick something up as really strange as like this area of darkness just kind of moves through. So when you're, by Black Lake District and by the wall, and there's really nobody there that's sort of watching you, it kind of works perfect, allow you to blend in. But just moving through like the common city streets and stuff, it's really not going to help you.
Okay.
So what I would say here is you move as quietly as you can. You do exactly what you said. You duck into different areas. You adopt different presences. Using the cloak's hood. You're doing basically every trick you can think of to try to lose this bird. But each time you pop out of a different area and you pop out of, like, say, a different corner or a different alleyway, you just kind of quickly scan around and you can see the bird seemingly has a bead on you and it is following you everywhere you're going.
Is it following the rest of us?
You guys would notice that it like moves away from you. So you saw it when it went up to 300 feet up of this higher area. And then as Cedric continues to move further away, obviously he doesn't know what you guys are doing. You guys are just kind of sitting there just reacting or watching. You would notice the bird seems to move and follow Cedric specifically. You get the impression it maybe doesn't have as good of eyes on you now. You don't see it.
All right, can I duck into a... Is it night? I forget. It's not quite night, right?
No, it's like 4 p.m. by this point.
Guys, is there like a corner we can hide from the bird? And I'd like to upcast invisibility and get us all invisible, all 5 of us.
Yeah, you could certainly
it.
find a place to do that.
I can get a couple of us. You can get a couple.
Okay. All right, Leo, let's get over here. I got Lexi and Dell, so I'll upcast that to level 4.
Let's see. You got Lexi and Dell. That leaves me and Ranvan. So I'll do a 3. Yep. I hand Ranvan a silver disc and I say, "Put this in your pocket and press the button."
Okay, it's not gonna kill me, right?
No. Probably.
Because that would be like a shady way. That would be a very mean way to do it.
Right.
We like you, Radvon. We don't want you dead.
All right, so yes, each of you is then affected by an invisibility spell. Again, you haven't seen the bird real recently now, so once you're all invisible, you have to be careful moving around town as nobody's going to see you. So, somebody walking or pushing a cart or something like that, you're going to have to actively avoid them. Are you guys headed over to the cloak tower, or what is it you would like to do as you're all invisible?
So we're still there. I suggest we follow the bird and avoid contact with people. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
It's not gonna be hard because the bird can fly.
Well, you could see it, right? And it's following Cedric right now, so let's just help out Cedric. He's on his own.
So just to clarify, you cannot see the bird right now. Once Cedric broke away, it seemed to follow him, and it was not nearby you guys, so you do not know where the bird is right now.
Oh, well, where do we see Cedric? Oh, can I cast a spell invisibility or it breaks it
It
if
would
I
break
harm
it.
somebody?
I think it breaks it if you cast any spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, the spell ends for a target that attacks or casts a spell.
Hey, Del, can you send without casting a spell?
What?
Like
So-
he can cast sending. I think Del can cast sending, right?
I can cast sending using sorcery points, which allows me to. I gotta find what it's called real quick.
You could do it subtly, but it would still be casting a spell, so invisibility would still drop.
Oh,
So,
I thought it was part of his helm or something.
well, there's. Hold on.
You could probably talk
We're-
to Cedric.
We're level 14, right?
No,
13.
Adam's being stingy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, no, I next level is when I would be able to use psionic sorcery, so I wouldn't have to like use anything except for points on certain spells like sending. So, I'll cast sending no matter what. What do I say, guys?
Before you do, out of character, this is gonna break your invisibility, right?
Yeah, but Del doesn't care.
Okay.
But also, can you telepathically talk to people, Del?
He was walking away and blending in with the crowd when I realized that I should have made the link with him, so I wouldn't have been able to see him. Because it's 60 feet and I have to see them.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
imagine Cedric's just kind of like looking around now, like, oh crap! Oh, I was worried about this stupid bird. Where are they at?
And I'm picturing Cedric like
Man.
he's like, there's no possible way he sees me now. I went through 3 alleys, I jumped over a barrel, I went through an inn and came out the back door, and then he pops out the back door and looks up and he sees the blue jay looking down. Something like it's just a point where it's like creepy, almost like, how is this guy doing this?
Uh-oh.
I know he went
Huh?
robotic on us.
Oh, is that
Adam,
me?
are you still there? Yeah, that was you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The only unfortunate part is that because Adam's recording locally, that excellent thing is not going to be in the recording. So from our end, Adam, you were like, yeah. So he turns the corner and then he goes beep, oh, bye, oh, and it got so robotic.
Oh, my bad. Okay, no, I was just saying, I was laughing, thinking of it in my head that, you know, every which way that Cedric went and all the activity that he took and every action to like hide, jump through an inn, go through a back door, all that fun stuff. Each time he comes out and looks up, he sees this little blue jay.
Yeah, and right now, Cedric's outfit is probably like he changed sex. He's a commoner female. He's got like little pigtails, and he's like faux carrying a basket of bread, and he's like, "Ah, stupid bird."
It's like
Is
go ahead.
Leo is scrying on Cedric, casting a spell?
Probably. In my head, Cedric was Jason Bourne, just not good, like MacGruber versus MacGyver.
The group.
Yeah, I think, and also I could scry on Cedric, but it would definitely break my invisibility. Here, let's just wait a moment.
Well, I was reading survival books back in college, and one of the first rules, if you're lost, always go back to the last place you were seen.
And probably don't be invisible so your friends can find you.
Well, we're looking for... Who are we looking for? A short female dwarf now?
No, you have no idea. That's the thing. You guys did so many tricks that you're never going to find each other again.
We lost ourselves instead of who we wanted to lose.
Well, you guys are following the bird, right?
No, they don't know where the bird's at. They're literally like standing in this area like, guys, let's go invisible. There's no way the bird will find us. And then they realize the bird's really not there, and it's been following Cedric. They're like, well, we can find Cedric, but we don't know what he looks like or who he looks like. Yeah, this is going to be, all right, yeah. We'll certainly try to probably have to hand wave some of this. But
No, I'll just cast Sending on Cedric. I mean, I don't care if I break... If it didn't work, it's just a spell slot. No big deal.
all right, yeah, post sending. Is that one? That's not concentration, right?
Well, hey,
No.
wait. If Brandal casts sending, though, and he's the one concentrating on invisibility, it doesn't just drop his invisibility. It drops it on all of the ones that he had invisible, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I don't think sending's concentration, though.
It's not.
It's not.
But
So
invisibility is concentration, though, right?
Yeah, so
It's-
he would lose it for himself because that's the stipulation of the invisibility spell, but everybody else he'd still be concentrating on.
Yeah, so Del would stop Brandel and be like, I got this. Keep your
Okay.
invisibility.
All right, Del.
And Del will just use a sending spell to Cedric and be like, the rest of the party's invisible except for me. We'll meet you back at the tavern.
All right,
Where
so
we're
go
staying the night.
ahead and post sending for me real quick. I think that will all work just fine, but I just want to check something real quick.
Adam's looking to see if birds are able to detect psychic thoughts.
No, no.
Bird is freaking. This bird is Jason Bourne.
He's
Yeah, that's
300
it.
feet in the air? Wow. He's got to be an illusion.
Okay, yep, so yeah, so which you are familiar, I don't think a visual change would make it where you're not familiar with the person. So yep, I would say that works exactly like you intend, Del.
Okay.
Can I answer?
Yeah.
I can answer, right? I'm gonna say, dude, this freaking bird, man, is following me everywhere. If you guys can't find me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna circle around.
That's about
that
25
we-
words.
Well, he's gonna forget the dude part and this bird's crazy part. He'll take those words out.
That's it right there. No, that's it.
I think that's how
doesn't know.
Cedric talks, man.
Yeah, for real.
I'd be like, so getting half a message, Dell's gonna be like, he'll do another one and be like, keep your words succinct and quick.
Bird, follow me. I walk back to inn, but not go in. Just make circles round outside. Follow bird. Bye.
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 I'm hanging up now. No, you hang up first.
The magical text message, always fun.
Oh man, I still forgot to tell him how I look too.
All right, so while this is very fun and a great diversion, is it safe to say you guys' intent is try to all gather back at the inn?
Yes. We'll try to listen to Cedric's advice. And,
All right, so we
and
listen
for
to
a
the
strange
Benny
person.
Hill music as you guys may eventually all make your way back to the Come and Stay, and you guys are in front of there where you can see that little area where there's some people hanging out like in the garden. Eventually, as you're every which way you go, Cedric, you can see this juvenile blue jay following you, always way out of the way, 300, always minimum of 200 feet away, frequently 300 feet away. And it keeps just following you like this, all these different guises you take. Eventually, you make your way back to the inn, and you notice Dell. You don't notice your other companions, but I imagine other companions. You guys are kind of following Dell since he's the only one that you can see. So you guys all gather once again in front of the inn, and we'll assume you're all aware of each other's presence now and know the guises that you've adopted.
Now let's RP it out. Is that you, Cedric?
That's our Are you a sloth?
Just ask everyone in the common room. Are you Cedric?
I'm just gonna, in my girl form, I'm just gonna walk up to Dell and ask what he does with his hair.
I don't wash it.
Oh.
Dude, that's gross. Oh, it's me. It's me.
Oh, okay. Is the bird still following you?
Yeah, man. Everywhere I
Okay.
freaking go, man.
Perhaps one of our companions should get in range and either fireball or magic missile it to destroy it. Since
I
they're
think-
invisible.
I think I can lose it. I mean, I can go invisible too, but like, I don't want it to know where we're staying. So maybe I'll walk to another inn and try to lose it, and then come back.
Leo
Well,
here.
if you
I'm
keep
invisible.
walking and it goes past me and it's within range, I might be able to do it, or maybe Leo can just snipe it with his crossbow.
It's 300 feet away. Nothing I can do can reach it.
Yeah, 150 feet
Who
is
said
about
that?
as much as I can do.
Oh, sorry. It's me.
I told you they were invisible.
Yeah.
Actually, I could hit it. I'm pretty sure from pretty far away, farther than it is now. But I was thinking, we could maybe solve two birds with one arrow. If I didn't intend to do that, but I'm glad I did.
Coming from an invisible Leo, that was good, man.
Del, if you okay, now I'm going to look at the sending spell. Let's see here. If it's a bird and just a bird, it won't be able to respond. But, well, I don't know. Maybe it would, as I'm reading it.
If it knows you, it can answer. Well, it might know you.
So if it has an intelligence of at least 1, it would understand the meaning of my message.
Right. So anyway, I was thinking, why don't you try sending to the bird, tweet to it, and then
Morse code.
just
Tweet,
ask
tweet.
it what it wants, what it's doing. We know that you're there, bird.
It's an
Okay.
angry bird.
I will cast sending, focusing on the bird, and I will be like, let me think about this for a second.
We're just a bunch of pigs trying to, hold on to their acorns.
I know you've been following us. If you wish your master to meet with us, send a messenger.
It will reply to your tweet, and you will hear you will hear these words in your head, Del, in a response, and it will say, "Tell Cedric that was most entertaining, quite fun indeed. No worries, I am not here to endanger you, just making sure to see what you are up to."
Oh, it's Cedric's contact, the
So
Harpers.
no. So I'm gonna be like, Cedric, you have some very bad people after you. And I walk into the tavern.
Oh, man, you're telling me my whole life.
And I think the rest of us are just like, what? Oh, all right. Cedric, it's your problem. Good luck.
I'm just gonna walk inside after him. I mean, I recommended a solution, but no one seemed to bite on it, so I'm just like, whatever. All right, let's do it.
And then once everybody gets back inside and we get upstairs, I'll be like, actually, the bird told me it was just somebody that probably knows you that was just checking in on you.
Did you recognize
a little
their
prank.
voice?
I probably not. Right, Adam?
Ooh, give me... Okay, let's do it this way. Let's do this as a group insight check. You can all roll this publicly.
Oh, I'm gonna inspire this for sure.
Okay.
For sure, you definitely needed it.
Yeah,
Big
good
old- big old
bit.
2.
So already that's 4 successes, so that will be a success. So here's going to be what you guys, as you're putting your heads together, I'm just going to throw out a couple of clues here. Juvenile blue jay speaks fairly intelligently and well educatedly.
Oh, it's the little boy.
Ranbon's dude.
My dude.
My dude. He wants a game of kickball, dude.
He's gonna be mad then, because Leopold never pointed out a shop where I could buy one.
It's Leo's fault.
What a douche.
Leo is such a douche. Yeah, totally.
So as you start piecing this information together, and Brandel, you start realizing, how did this kid disappear? It becomes quite apparent to you that this kid is actually a druid and can change his shape into an animal. Likely, when everything happened on the ship, he might have been a spider or a tick, who knows, to avoid any kind of being detected. And obviously with True Sight, if you were to see his form, you'd be able to tell he wasn't actually a spider or whatnot, but being out of your line of sight while he is so small would be very, very easy.
And realizing this, Del's gonna just burn a 4th upcast sending, even though it's worth it, to the blue jay again, to the boy, and be like,
I'll give you 30 words for a 4th level slot.
okay, you know where we're staying, we're staying in the suite. If you would like dinner, come join us.
Tell him I'm gonna find the ball, and I'm gonna grab Leo's hand. What time of day is it?
And
like
Rangon
4:30-ish.
can't find a ball.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab Leo's hand. We're going to find one right now.
Oh, Lord. All right, let's go.
In response, he will say very briefly, I am somewhat intrigued. I'm curious as to what I could do to help you, but I must say your group has piqued my interest.
Who wouldn't be interested in us turning invisible and running around this city?
I can hear Natalie laughing in the background. Yeah, we're something, aren't we, guys?
Look, if we're gonna play kickball with this little dude, I call being in the outfield first. I'm gonna nail this sucker.
I'll be the umpire.
I'll be goaler too.
I could just see, like, Brandel, as the ball's rolling, he uses his telekinesis to shift the ball over at the last second, so it's just like a whole Peanuts football situation.
Oh, you missed again.
But I really do drag Leo out so we can go find a ball right now.
You can certainly track down a ball in Neverwinter without too much difficulty.
Perfect.
I want to find a street urchin who has a ball, and I'm going to give him 5 gold pieces for it.
You easily do, yes. And he is absolutely shocked and blown away, and you get this impression this is more money than he has ever seen before. He pretty much takes it and runs as he gives you the ball, like really, trying to make sure there's no way you take it back. And you can just hear him like almost like a kid that won the lottery, shouting at the top of his lungs as he's running away top speed.
Way to go, Leo. You just took that kid's only fun thing away from him.
Yeah, for fun gold.
Go buy another one.
He's so getting mugged later.
Yeah,
Hey, he's
man.
gonna die.
That dude
This
just...
is the only good thing that's happened to that kid. What do you guys do?
Yeah. That was his own escape from a skooma addiction, and you just took it from him.
Yeah, he's getting stabbed in like at least 30 days.
Now Leo's worried he's going to scry on the kid. Is he okay?
Now we gotta save the kid. No, focus, guys.
I was going to say, it's going to be a nat 20, he resists. But no, yeah, he's fine. He gets home.
But yeah,
It's
we got
fine,
the ball, so you're good.
I can tell that you've played kickball before, Leo, because if you buy a new one, it's not the same. Once it's got a little bit of love on it, it's way better.
You got to break it in.
I'm not going on a side quest to save this kid from being stabbed for the 5 gold that Leo gave him for the kickball.
We gotta establish some rules too, right? No greaves can be worn while we're playing kickball. You can't have metal boots. Alright?
Good old mage hand.
Bare feet only.
I'm in.
Yep, agreed. And same as always, the pitcher wins ties.
Loser shaves their eyebrows. Alright, let's do this.
Mustache.
Not what I said. Let's get it.
So as we're ending our session here, folks, for next session, give me an idea of what your plan is here. You know that this Nagpa is in Black Lake District. You know roughly where he's at. Yeah, just trying to get this train back on the track slightly. But yeah, you know where he is at. You know that Black Lake District is very well guarded and secured, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be easy to get in there short of some kind of magical solution that is well thought out. So if you guys want to come up with a plan of how you're going to sneak in, or obviously you can just approach the gate and be like, hey, we want to go visit such and such, and see if you can convince the guards they might want to escort you there to confirm that whoever you're going to visit is fine with you visiting, all of that type of stuff. But is your plan to try to get into Black Lake District and try to speak with the snack bot?
I'm interested in this kid.
I think on a serious note though, because the stuff with the cult happened so long ago, the only recent credible thread that we have to follow would be to successfully infiltrate the Black Lake District and try to find the Nagpa. Wouldn't you guys think so?
Wyatt's contact too.
An art dealership was not a bad idea.
Right. So we got Nagpie in the Black Lake. We've got this is later in a few days, but Wyatt's dealer who wants to buy Asmodeus artifacts, and then art galleries that might have painted demonic paintings, which I think since Leo saw him, he can describe them maybe and see if that pops anything. So I guess those 3 things are possible.
Yeah, I think, and that would be good. If it maybe we luck out, there's like another art commission and we can deliver it or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. We can, deliver some art to him. Some art.
But this boy is not going away either. And as a serious note, apart from just a jovial game of kickball in the morning or this evening, get to see what this kid's why he won't leave us alone.
I think it's important to know his intentions and why he's alone, at least. He could actually help us. I mean, his form shifting could come in handy.
Yeah, he could
I
turn
feel
into a
like
bird.
you may all be reading into this a little bit too much. I mean, it's pretty obvious he wants to play kickball, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's all he wants to do with Ranbon, with Uncle Ranbon.
We all just stop and look at Ranfun for like 5 seconds without saying anything, and then we just go back to talking about how we want to do everything.
Could you imagine Leo's conscience if he had actually shot this blue jay 300 feet out of the air.
Oh my gosh! I didn't even
Yeah.
think about that. Oh man.
Well, I think we were all debating doing that, so I think we would have all of us just we turned around and started blasting away. And
Oh man.
Big
that
smile
would've
on
been
his face as
hilarious.
he's like, I got it figured out, guys. Steps out, fires the arrow, hits the kid. He turns back into a kid, tumbles down the roof with a bolt in his chest, lands on the ground.
300 feet.
300
30d6. 30d6 damage.
Leo
Well,
can,
and it would have been an advantage because he was invisible, so it would have negated any distance, right?
Leo could have pegged that guy at
Ooh.
400 feet away with no
Yep.
trouble.
And he would have been dead when he fell.
He probably has decent
Anyway,
hit points.
you'll
so
edit
it's
this
okay.
part where we joke about killing a child.
Oh
outright,
no,
Adam.
this is totally staying in. No, this is definitely part of the great group's adventure story here.
I'm just glad we didn't make that choice, guys. I mean, obviously we chose the non-chaotic alignment version of this particular storyline.
We
We're
went the
not
path of
murder
random.
hobos. We're not. It confirms it.
It was a great session. I really enjoyed role playing with everybody. It seemed like a good RP sesh. We do have a pretty good plan, I think, for next time with tracking down this Nagpa.
All right, guys. So I will have the three quest hooks or plot hooks there we just discussed: Nagpa, Wyatt's buyer, and then this kid. If there's anything else in particular you want to explore or discuss or make a plan beforehand, feel free to do that in Discord. We'll see you guys all next week and continue the adventure.
Art
Thanks.
gallery would be the fourth, I think.
I think that'll tie into Wyatt's
Okay.
buyer, right? Because
Okay,
he's
yep.
the,
Oh.
yes, yep.
All right, guys.
Either
Hey,
way.
great job. It was fun.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
Great
Have a good night,
session.
everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Bye,
Have a good one,
guys.
guys.